1 and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1 and 87.7 FM, as well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app, and at home, tell Alexa or Google to play Sports 56. If it's happening in the world of sports, we've got it covered. Wherever you are, stay tuned to real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7. For over 25 years, Sports 56 has been bringing you great local sports talk. Available on AM 560, 96.1 FM, and 87.7 FM. With 12 hours of local talk daily, we continue to be Memphis's local sports leader. Get your day started with the Peter Edniston Experience with CJ Hurt from 7 to 10. Sports 56 Middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy takes you through lunch from 10 until 1. And then, John Harden brings you Johnny Radio's Happy Hour from 1 to 3. Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy drive you home every afternoon with Sportstime with Wolo and Stats from 3 till 6. And John Rennie wraps up the day with Southern Sports Report from 6 to 7 before we turn things over to Fox Sports Radio to get you through the evening. We also bring you Ole Miss sports, NFL football, and the NCAA basketball tournament. Don't miss anything. Keep your radio locked in right here on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Good Thursday afternoon to you on January 16th, 2020. Tiger basketball back tonight at FedEx Forum. Courtside tonight calling all the action. The voice of the Tigers, he joins me now en route to FedEx Forum to prepare for that 6 o'clock tip-off. Dave Woloshin. And Dave, after two roadies, one a loss at Wichita and one a win in Tampa against South Florida, home tonight against longtime rival, the Cincinnati Bearcats. Good afternoon, Dave.
Good afternoon. Looking forward to it. This is some rare stuff for Cincinnati. They're not necessarily the Bearcats that we know. There's no Mick Cronin. The Tigers are ranked above Cincinnati. It's hard to believe. It's the first time, Brett, since 2008, that great Tiger year with CDR and the Laurenberg guys and, of course, Derrick Rose, that went all the way to the title game. That team was the last time Memphis was ranked better than the Bearcats. They've struggled a little bit this year. Not terrible, still 3-1 in league play, and it's a test that Memphis has to really ace out because you can't lose two in a row at home, especially when the FedEx Forum has been such a marvelous home court advantage. 87% of the time the Tigers play there, they win. But they did lose the last time out in the one stinker game they've had this year where it really hurt them, and that was the Georgia game.
Yeah, it really hurt them that night. And Georgia now moving up in the bracketology in the RPI world. And I think for Tiger fans, they want that. They want Georgia doing well.
Yeah.
It was another upset-filled night last night in college basketball, and Kentucky goes down. And Kentucky goes on the road Saturday to Fayetteville to Bud Walton Arena, and it will feel like the old days Saturday in Fayetteville for Kentucky. But for tonight, the big one's the Tigers, and you know they didn't play very well at all on the road at Wichita, and they didn't play very well for a long portion of the game on Sunday. Dave, really fortunate to go 1-1 on that road trip.
They were. They weren't supposed to beat Wichita State. They were supposed to beat USF, and in the end,
that's what
they
happened.
did, and they did it thanks to really good defense. You know that sort of gets lost, but Memphis is in the top 5 in blocks in this country. They're in the top 5 in field goal defense in this country. And when it comes to shooting percentages, that was the area that really Penny assigned the most of his attention. He wanted to make this young team full of athletes and 5-star guys that could all score. He wanted to make them into a unit that could defend, and they've done that. Now they've lost a little bit offensively while doing that, and they've had a terrible penchant to turn it over, and that's got to get better. And if it does, and the defense and rebounding continues at the pace that it has, they're going to be just fine. I mean, this year is crazy.
It is.
You mentioned Kentucky loses on a crazy shot at the end to South Carolina. South Carolina's beaten 2 top 10 teams now this year and lost to 2 or 3 dogs.
They're not very good.
I mean, who can figure out what Frank Martin's team is doing? But last night, while that's going on, I'm watching that. I'm watching Butler at home against Seton Hall, which is a pretty good team. They lost. They were 2 in the country. I mean, they were falling all over the place. Creighton then lost. They were actually ranked 25th in the AP poll. Wichita State goes to Temple, which had just lost at home. I want to say to East Carolina. It wasn't a very good team. And they end up down 9 in the first half, come back and blow Wichita State away. So there's not a team without a loss now in the American. And I got a feeling the race is going to come down to Houston, which did win their game fairly easily against SMU last night. And I think it's going to come down to Memphis and to Wichita and to Houston as to who ends up winning that conference. And frankly, all 3 should end up in the NCAA tournament.
And only now one remaining nationally undefeated team, that's San Diego State, after Auburn goes into Coleman Coliseum last night and really got thumped by Alabama. Alabama had been playing better, had played Kentucky pretty well last Saturday afternoon on the road at Rupp, and then really clicked last night and put it on Auburn for Auburn to move out of the ranks of undefeated. So just San Diego State remaining, and they'll lose somewhere. I don't know when, but they'll lose somewhere. Better in that league, not overall record, but in that league, it's UNLV, and I think I think they go to UNLV here pretty soon. But San Diego State will lose at some point. And nobody's going undefeated. That may be one of sports' unbreakable records. What Indiana did in '76. That's never happened.
I'm never going to say that after I saw the number one seed Virginia lose to Baltimore, Maryland County.
Well, that was one of the last unbreakables.
That now I know everything could possibly fall.
But that was one
even
night.
That was
one night. To do it undefeated, you got to do it over about 40 nights.
I'm glad that you did mention, though, the Auburn game, because I actually forgot it. I think there were 6 ranked teams that fell last night, and, of course, Duke the night before that. And so it's just the craziest year with the way these ranked teams are falling out. And I watched a great deal of the Auburn-Alabama game. I'm going back and forth through so many games. I probably watched the last 7 or 8 minutes of that game. And Alabama just blew them away. Well, whatever Bruce Pearl tried, it would not work. Nate Oates' team came to play.
Getting better.
That rivalry, when you put on Alabama and Auburn and they put uniforms on in any sport, it just brings out the best in both teams.
You think the Alabama fans would trade a made field goal and just an opportunity at overtime in the Iron Bowl for that win last night over Auburn and knock them out of the undefeateds?
No. I don't think
they would in a second. They would in a second.
Football rules, man.
That's what I said. Would they trade? I said they would in a second. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I misunderstood your question.
They could go over. They could go 0-30 in basketball.
They play basketball to stay in shape for football.
They do. We got a busy show today. A lot of football and a lot of college and pro basketball. At 3:30, the voice of the Cincinnati Bearcats, the visiting Bearcats, Dan Horde, often guest on this show. We visited with him around the AAC championship game when it was Bearcats and Tigers in back-to-back weeks in football. We'll visit with him. We'll visit with him at 3:30 and round out hour number 1 with some final college football numbers from the bowl games. Hour 2 starts with Inside Hoop City. That's with Elliot Perry every Thursday at this time, talking all things Grizzlies and Tigers and college and pro basketball. Russell Copeland on the NFL at 4:30. At 5 o'clock, Todd Lebo from 810 WHB in Kansas City with the Kansas City Chiefs' perspective about this weekend's AFC Championship game. And at 5:30 from Clutch Points app and Blue Ribbon Magazine and Marching to Madness podcasts, our friend Blake Lovell on this crazy year of college football. We wrap it up with Taco Bell Crunch Time, and then Drew's going to try to get down to FedEx Forum in about a minute and a half, maybe at 6 o'clock, to watch the Tigers play tonight. That will be quite a test. Baseball, screaming headlines again today. A third manager now out, and he pulled the Mike Price. He went 0-0 with the Mets. Carlos Beltran out today.
Yeah, that actually is my not top story, which we will get to. I've talked to a bunch of people in and around baseball, manager, from the administration to players to umpires to everybody. I get the sense they all think, okay, this is all right to clean this up, and it will clean this up, but maybe it's a little overblown. You now have three managers, and one of them, maybe two. Well, two of them for sure are really good. We'll never know how good Beltran was, or we don't even know how long he'll be suspended by baseball. To be honest with you, he's the only guy that was a player that was named in this investigation, and he never got to manage a game. I am not for cheating. I think it's always been a part of the game to sort of go to the edge. If you could figure out signals, but using technology,
it was stealing
them. Getting technology to steal them has taken it a step too far, and Rob Manfred has really put his foot down. And I know I asked you if you thought this would end the cheating, and you were not certain that it would.
No,
based on the folks I've talked with, they think it will.
I mean, people still scuff the ball up, and if they could get away with throwing Gaylord Perry spitballs, they still would. But no, I think it'll be just a different way and a new way to do it now. Pretty clear evidence of Jose Altuve being wired. You can see it clearly, and now some pictures. I don't know why we couldn't see this a few years ago, but now you can see under his jersey, and even after a game-winning home run in the celebration, you could tell he was adamant that he didn't want his jersey torn off because he was wired for sound under it. That is really, really crossing a line. And you just wonder, Dave, with a now mountain of evidence and more allegations, more investigation, would the commissioner, would Major League Baseball vacate the 2017 World Championship for Houston?
Well, I think it's going to depend a little bit on the public response of what you just talked about. Could you imagine? We all wondered, how is Altuve, this little guy, hitting so many darn home runs? Well, it was the lively ball, or something in the bats, or the small ballparks, or we're just better nutrition-wise, or now we have upper angles when we swing, and got video now. We can tell the way the pitchers are bringing the ball, and we've got a better way to figure it all out. And the truth is, he kind of knows what's coming. Now, he's still got to hit it, but he kind of knows what's coming.
That helps.
And that really helps. Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see home run numbers. It'll be really interesting to see Altuve's numbers now that we know if he's allowed to play.
Right.
How all that will work out.
And Mike Fiers really started all this with being on some of those teams, and kind of the Jose Canseco. He didn't do a book like Juice, but he was kind of the tell-all. Some were claiming for him he should have whistleblower status. I know this for him. I know he pitches, and if he's in the American League, and even now with playing interleague, not many opportunities to bat for anybody, they're going to be throwing at him when he pulls up in the parking lot. I mean, if he's sitting in the stands, they might throw at him.
Well, if he were involved in the days of The Sopranos in New York and in New Jersey, back when, he'd be called a rat, and most likely he'd end up missing.
And he could really have some retaliation at him. But now you had Trevor Bauer, really was the first of the day today to allege the wired for sound. Then Carlos Beltran's sister with a series, is that right? With a series of tweets that the big lead's reporting, and others, including Scott Brocious. Who knew? Scott Brocious, the old MVP of the '98 World Series for the Yankees. His son is telling story after story. Dave, 3 managers down. That's 10% of the sport's been fired this week. This week.
That is
10% of the sport's been fired. I don't think we're at the end of managers being fired. I think it's more. I think we will eventually get into real clandestine, surreptitious behavior, maybe up to and including locker rooms bugged.
Who knows where this goes to? I did hear some theories that said that they thought Beltran was the first guy to really get it going, get it organized. We know Cora was involved with 2 teams. That's a for certain thing. And, Carlos Beltran never even got a chance to manage.
0 and 0.
Zip and zip. And
the
you know
Mike
what?
Price, without the fun.
Yeah, well, but I go back to the guy that got let go for him to come in, Mickey Callaway, who did end up, by the way, as the pitching coach for the California Angels, the former, Germantown High School guy, an Ole Miss player. So we have a connection with him, and I felt bad for him to get fired. He gets fired for a guy who never gets to even manage.
And that general manager, and I don't know how to correctly pronounce his last name, but he's one of the leaders of field managers. Not that important anymore. We just need analytics, and really just about anybody can fill out a lineup card that we send down there to him, and kind of wants to manage from. And Tim Doolin made that point all of last year, that you've got a lot of very active analytic, sabermetrician type general managers that are doing the lion's share of a lot of managing from a box up in the stands, and they don't have a lot of regard for managers. So we'll see who get those jobs. We're in our Family Leisure Studios, where family and fun come together. Help us make room for our incoming inventory. Save thousands on all floor model spas, floor model play gyms up to 50% off. Patio furniture, 10 to 50% off. Don't wait until May to purchase your swimming pool. Buy now and get scheduled for spring installation. Additional discounts on all swimming pools, grills, fire pits, outdoor kitchens at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. We'll see where the baseball scandal goes, but it is one that's off to a big start for the 2020 year. This hour, our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Great offers on all 2020 models and always on special lease options. Lexus of Memphis kicking off 2020 with the golden opportunity January sales event. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be starting the year off driving and looking in style. Lexus of Memphis, the high standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Dave, you first.
Well, it's the 80th meeting between the Tigers and the Bearcats, and as I mentioned earlier,
Man.
80th.
That's a lot of meetings.
By the way, that is actually the third longest of all the series. Believe it or not, Southern Miss, 91 meetings, number one. Yep. Louisville, number two, 90 meetings. And now the 80th meeting between the Bearcats and Memphis.
Dave,
and of course,
I'm going to say Tulane's in there somewhere in most often
Tulane, they're in the top. They're in the top 7 or 8. Yep. I'm not 100% certain. I don't have it in front of me, but I know this. Tulane is going to pass those others sooner or later.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati is certainly going to do it in the next few years because we're still in the same league.
Yeah, they will. 80th meeting tonight, and you're getting close to our commissary big Q of the day question that we'll have about 4:45 after we visit with Russell Copeland. My top story.
By the way, since you said that, I had commissary for lunch today. Can I just tell you how great it is? I don't go there as often as I should, but every time I go there, I walk away shaking my head.
I go there
How
often.
good is this place? I had the ribs, baby. Oh, are the ribs good?
Good for you. We will have a big Q of the day for Germantown and Collierville commissary about 4:45. We'll also give away Ole Miss and LSU tickets for basketball for Saturday at the Pavilion. My top story of the day, Tigers back at home after the 2 tough road games. He lost at Wichita State when they didn't play well, and a win at USF when they didn't play very well. But they split them, and they showed a lot of a fight on Sunday in the comeback from down 14. Tonight against Cincinnati, guard play will be important. That's almost the subtext of everything the rest of the year for the Tigers, and an awareness of every trip down the floor. Be looking for Precious Achua. a home loss tonight, really any home loss, was something unimaginable in the preseason. Already had the one to Georgia. A home conference loss, nobody had that in the preseason.
Since you bring up Precious, watch the battle between him and Trayvon Scott, because those are the two best rebounders in the American Athletic Conference. That'll be a big key in this game. And I got a feeling, don't know why, I got a feeling DJ Jeffries is going to have a big night.
I do too.
Not top story of the day.
Dave?
Well, for me, it's probably Carlos Beltran. 3 managers out from the sign stealing scandal. But how bad is it for Antonio Brown? His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, just fired him until he gets counseling. His lawyer removed himself from a lawsuit involving damages to a rented condo. He posted a video of himself cursing at police and his kids, which he then posted and TMZ picked up. This is a troubled guy.
Train wreck.
For sure. Oh, and one other one, since I'm not going to be around after this. Odell Beckham, we know he did the crazy thing with the money. Did you see the video of him in the locker room of LSU? And police come in to stop guys from, I think, smoking cigars.
Yeah.
And he's in there. The video's crazy. He's in there, and the cop is talking to a player, kind of turns his back, and Odell Beckham slaps him on the rear end. And now there's a warrant out for his arrest for simple battery.
OBJ,
crazy
always
stuff.
In the middle of the news. My not top story. Yep. Since victory on Monday night, LSU they've had a tough week. They've had a tough week with roster losses. They have a tough week with staff losses with Joe Brady. But the 7 players out the door will be the most impactful thing. But they're recruiting big. They knew they were going to have to replace Joe Burrow, and they're taking a big hit. But they're recruiting well. They're ranked 4th right now at Rivals. Ohio State's 5th. Here's your top 3. I know it'll come as shockers that this is the top 3 right now at Rivals.com. Clemson 1, Georgia 2, Bama 3.
Wow, you could knock me over with a feather. I'm so stunned.
I mean, you just hardly believe anything I ever tell you again, will you?
Man. Well.
But, Dave, you have a good one tonight at FedEx Forum, and we will talk with you tomorrow afternoon, okay?
I will be there. I look forward to it, and hopefully I'll see all our friends at FedEx Forum.
You got it. Voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, getting ready to head downtown to FedEx Forum where the Tigers play the Bearcats. We will talk with the voice of the Bearcats, Dan Horde, in about 7 minutes. We want you to stay with us. You watch us live and message us at Sports56 WHBQ on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, and YouTube. Drew, you don't think it's that big a scandal in baseball. You think ho-hum, don't you?
I really do, because due to the fact, I mean, the buzzer, it's one thing if it's every pitch. But
that added a new layer to it.
It did. But with the trash can, with the whistling and everything, it's almost the underlining of baseball as a sport. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And for other teams to be on their high horses about it, it's ridiculous, because they're cheating just in different ways.
There's no need
for anybody to be on a high horse. And it's just new technology to do the same old thing we've always been doing.
Bad joke here. Since I'm 5'8", I can joke about this. Every horse is high to Jose Altuve and to me, right?
That is true.
Okay.
Yes.
But and rumors or conversation now that Buck Showalter might land the Houston job. That would be a really good hire. Jason Varitek in some conversation in Boston. Both of those would be good hires. I wonder if the Wilpons and the Mets and even the new owner, Steve Cohen of the Mets, when he takes over full control, are they on the hook for the entire contract for Carlos Beltran? Because is this with cause? Because he was not a manager. He was not. He was in uniform, but he was a player when the violation that has caused his ouster occurred. Somewhere in the contract language, I bet you a good lawyer can make them say you're on the hook for every dime.
I bet a good lawyer can. That's obviously a question for a lawyer, not me. I didn't go to law school, but I think right now, if you're the Mets, even if you are still on the hook, you have to take the hit.
Money's tight with the Mets, though. It has been since Bernie Madoff. Truly,
but if you kept Beltran as your manager, then you're going to be eyes looked on you all season long, and there's no way you move past it.
But they still got to pay him, wouldn't you think?
Probably, but it's better than the alternative.
It's probably better than the day in, day out blistering criticism they would take in that marketplace. Because, look, I mean, it's sharks in that marketplace, and especially with the Yankees. The Yankees seem to be the most offended team out there with the skullduggery because they were really close. They ran into both of them. They ran into the Astros one year and the Red Sox other. When we come back, we visit with the voice of the Bearcats. That's Dan Horde. That's next on Sportstime with Wolo and Stats and Drew Barrett on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and find your right fit. At Edwin Watts, they take customer service to a whole new level. Not only do they fit for clubs, they take pride in servicing customers throughout the entire store. They'll help you find the right shoes, bags, gloves, balls, apparel, and more. At Edwin Watts, you'll find name brand equipment at guaranteed lowest prices every day. So buy it, try it, they know you'll like it because Edwin Watts help you find the right equipment. Visit Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into Corky's and getting one of their family party packs. How can you go wrong with pork, beans, slaw, sauce, and buns for only $5.99 a person? It is so easy. I can call ahead, order online, or just pop in. Tailgating can't get any easier. Tell them Penny sent you.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
The construction reduction event is on at Wolf Chase Honda. Exciting changes are in the works and inventory must be reduced. Get the best deals right now on all remaining 2019 Hondas while they last. Every new car, every certified, every used car, price to go. Get pre-approved now at wolfchasehonda.com. Wolf Chase Honda is expanding and our prices are dropping. Don't miss these savings. Act now. This huge construction reduction event ends soon.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family-owned since 1981.
The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main downtown has all your game day needs with 30 TVs. If your game is not on one of the 20 big screens, then sit in a booth with your own remote. The Vault has game day specials on pitchers, buckets of beer, and great food, which is the best thing about the Vault. This is not your normal sports bar. Chef Dirk Meitzler from On Tour and Cafe 621 has all his favorites like chicken Newport and his new lobster enchilada. Open for lunch and dinner every day with lunch specials for $12 weekdays with a drink. The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main, your downtown place to eat, drink, and watch the game.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know: Ben Swinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Ben Swinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Ben Swinger Glass in Midtown, located at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit their website, benswingerglass.com. Ben Swinger Glass.
Make your day smoking with the Big Green Egg. You can smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ceramic never rusts, and the easy, accurate temperature control gives you the greatest range of any grill. Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg. Available at these nearby locations: Hamilton Fireplace Shop, 4462 Summer Avenue; Germantown Hardware Company, 2083 South Germantown Road; Garden Spas and Pool, 9393 Poplar Avenue; and East Memphis Ace Hardware, 5143 Quince Road.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Tigers and Cincinnati Bearcats, 6 o'clock, FedEx Forum. I know it'll be a big crowd tonight after the two-game road swing for the Tigers and the won't say near-death experience. That'd be a little dramatic for Sunday, but the near loss, the comeback Sunday, I think too much or not enough has been made of the Tiger comeback Sunday. They did come back and win the game, 68-64. That's the object. Did not look good most of the game. There were better parts than others in it, but they did win the game. They didn't play very well. They only had about 8 or 10 minutes of really good play when they played Wichita State in Wichita last Thursday night and lost that game by 9. I don't know if it was really even that close. Wichita State was better that night, but then they go out last night and they lose at Temple. So how good the American? How good's the SEC? How good are a lot of these conferences? How good's the ACC? Is it that good? I think the Big Ten is all of that. All that we have made it and being made of it. I think it's appropriate. But a lot of the leagues are finding their way. It's still very early, and it's plenty of time to get better as the year proceeds. So tonight with the Tigers at home, it'll be a big reception for them and a big reaction to them against a longtime rival. And any kind of win will be a good one. But a loss would definitely cast a different light on this much-anticipated season. I had 27-4 all year. Now, that was with James Wiseman. And except for 3 games, and one of those was a loss, it has been and will be without him. But even without James Wiseman, I wasn't factoring in any home losses and already had the non-conference loss to Georgia. I don't think the Tigers will lose tonight, but I was surprised that the Vegas point spread only 4.5, and that's about what the point spread was Sunday on the road against South Florida. So we'll see tonight with the game at FedEx Forum. Having a little trouble getting a hold of Dan Horde. We'll keep trying to catch up with him and talk about the game tonight between UC and the Tigers. He also is he's the voice of the Cincinnati Bengals, and it's got to be a lot of excitement for them with the number 1 pick, and the presumptive number 1 pick, of course, is Joe Burrow, freshly minted from the 15-0 LSU Tigers, national champions this year, Heisman Trophy winners in that performance on Monday night. And a lot of fallout from that game on Monday night with Odell Beckham Jr. and his behavior on the field and in the locker room after the game. After the game, reportedly, New Orleans police, Superdome security, did not want them smoking cigars in the locker room. Okay, I don't see that much wrong with it, but him and his interaction with a police officer is now had a warrant for his arrest. OBJ, he had him a night Monday night, and the easy line to offer up is, I'm just glad the catch net wasn't there to fight back with him this time, because he did not have a good Monday night. It was real money. How they're going to sort out the penalties of it, I don't know. If it's somebody getting ready to head to the pros like Joe Burrow, what are you going to do? You're not going to do anything. He's not in violation. I don't think of anything. And if it's a player that was not a star and wants to return, he's going to have to return the cash, or will not be eligible next year, because it's an impermissible benefit. You just can't go bonusing the players. And this morning on TV, the former Texas player on one of the hot take TV shows talking about in the national championship game, I think it was Emmanuel Acho, talking about in the national championship game against Alabama a few years ago, that they were going to be bonus $1,000 an interception. I hope I'm not breaking any news to anybody, but it's long been pro and college locker room type bounties, performance bonuses in a lot of locker rooms. Now, if it's in college, it's illegal. If it's a bounty to injure someone in the pros, we had that meted out by the NFL a few years ago with the Saints. Why would he feel the need to tell that? Why would you want to go tell that? And why, if for Odell Beckham Jr. on Monday night, to do it just out there in front of everyone for everybody to see, and whoever the LSU brains of the defense, that it wasn't real money, anybody with eyes could tell it very much was real money. You can call us at 360-8255 or text us at 67129. 360-8255 is the First Bank phone line. and 67129 is the First Bank text line. And at First Bank, you deal with experienced Memphis bankers that you know and that you trust. They all have deep Memphis banking and business experience and expertise. Visit firstbankonline.com. That's firstbankonline.com. In First Bank, they know what you need, a reliable, trustworthy Memphis banker that can give you an answer, and they make the decisions about you right here in Memphis. A direct answer from the First Bank banker that you're dealing with. Visit firstbankonline.com. That is firstbankonline.com. So the bowls come to an end, all 40 of them. Yeah, all 40 of them. We're going to have more next year. And we tracked it all through the bowl season. This year for the favorites in the bowl season, they went 24-16. So pretty good favorite year. The under was the more prevalent play. The under hit more often than or did not hit rather. It was 18 overs and 21 unders and one push in the bowl season for the over and under. And my rushing statistic, it had a great bowl season. Out of 40 bowl games, the team that won the rushing battle was 32-8. So if you went out there and you had one more yard rushing than the other team, you went 32-8. Passing went 23-17. So rushing went 80% and passing went 58%. But we know on Monday night that passing was the difference in that game for LSU, even though they did win the rushing battle. Tonight at FedEx Forum, it will be Cincinnati and the Tigers. We've caught up with Dan Hord. We're glad, too. We get to visit with him now. He will be courtside calling to action for the Cincinnati Bearcats. Dan Hord, good afternoon. I know Dave is headed to FedEx Forum, and I know you got to get there soon, and I'm glad you could carve out some time for us. Cincinnati and Memphis, it's got a ring to it, doesn't it?
It sure does, particularly after the two football games to finish out the season this year. So we're looking forward to it tonight. It should be a great game.
It's the 80th time to meet in basketball tonight, and had the back-to-back weeks in football. So it's old rivals, but a little different twist with a first-year coach for UC and a second-year coach for the Tigers.
And Cincinnati is still adjusting to its first-year head coach, John Brannon. I think he's going to be great, and the team is getting better. But naturally, when you have a transition from a coach that's been there for 13 years to somebody who plays a very different style of play, there have been some growing pains, but I'm liking what I'm seeing lately.
Dan, what was the biggest change early from Mick Cronin to the new coach for the returning players?
I think it's mostly a style of play thing. Mick Cronin was a defensive-oriented coach, and while the Bearcats are still playing good defense under John Brannon, the offensive style is polar opposite. They are looking to hurry the ball up the floor, try to beat the other team down the court and get an easy basket in transition if they can. And Mick Cronin's teams didn't do that. They would walk it up. They would take their time. They would try to grind you out in the half court, see if they could get offensive rebounds, and that's not really the style of play anymore.
When we last saw Cincinnati at FedEx Forum, it was at the American Athletic Conference Tournament, and it was just a really solid team and some returning players. What's the strength of this year's team?
Well, they have three guys back, three prominent guys back from the team that captured the conference championship last March, led by Jaron Cumberland. He's the reigning player of the year in the conference. He is a fantastic all-around basketball player. He's been hurt. He missed the program with a toe injury, and they are kind of picking and choosing when they elect to have him go and when they have him off on the side riding a bike, trying to keep pressure off that toe. So it's been a little bit of a problem so far this year, but he's been playing very well since the start of conference play.
And the start of conference play is ongoing for everyone across college basketball. And the AAC, Dan, like a lot of leagues, it's getting nicked up pretty early, and I'm questioning it. Many are questioning just how good it is. I think it's too early to put the final imprint on it. It's just a whole lot of basketball to play. But right now, it doesn't look to be that powerful, but the SEC does not. And there are some other leagues that look very similar to the AAC.
Well, it's been pretty crazy so far this year, and maybe what that means is that the top isn't quite as good as it's been, but maybe the bottom of the league is a lot better. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati has already lost a game to Tulane. Tulane is much improved. And take a look at what Temple has done. They lost by 26 on the road to Tulsa. They lost by 14 at home to Tulane. Last night they won by double digits against 16th-ranked Wichita State. So I just think it's one of those years in the league where you can't assume anything on a nightly basis.
And it may be one of those years across college basketball because every night is just chock full of major upsets of unranked teams beating very highly thought of and highly ranked teams.
Yeah, I mean, how many teams have already been ranked number one in the country this year? Something like 5 or 6. I know it was a record number for the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, so I think that's likely to continue. It is one of those years.
The Cincinnati fans for Cincinnati hadn't been to a Final Four since '92. Been a while since been to an Elite Eight. We know how hungry the fans are here in Memphis. How hungry are Bearcat fans in a great basketball in a great sports town of Cincinnati?
Yeah, they're very hungry for postseason success because the team keeps getting to the tournament and then bowing out early. Cincinnati has one of the longest current streaks of any school in the country. They've been to the tournament each of the last 9 years, but they've only advanced to one Sweet 16 during that time period. So that's the frustration level. They're excited to go. They hope to continue that streak this year, but they're hoping under their new head coach, John Brannon, that maybe he'll have a little more success in March than Coach Cronin had during his Cincinnati tenure.
The early mixing and meshing of John Brannon and Jerry Cumberland, do you think that that has eased and both are settling in, understanding each other a little better?
Yeah, and I think the whole thing was overblown, quite honestly. The problem was an injury. It wasn't anything other than that. Jaron Cumberland was hurt. He was not able to practice over the summer when the regular season practices began. He was not able to go 100%, and any coach is going to find that frustrating. Our players not able to learn the new system as quickly as you'd like him to because he can't practice. That's difficult for a first-year head coach, but everything is going better now that Jaron is at least healthier. He's still not 100%, but he's getting there.
The Tigers installed as a 4.5-point favorite tonight in the game. What kind of game? How do you think it will play out? The scoring range for it feels like maybe first team to 70, 75 might win.
Yeah, I would say that's likely. I mean, Memphis is the top-ranked team in the conference in terms of defensive efficiency for the course of the season. But if you look at league play, Cincinnati is number one. They've been great in their 4 conference games on the defensive end. So I would expect that kind of game tonight. Low 70s will probably do the trick.
Dan, since we have you, I want to have a few football questions. The first one, I know you're glad that Cincinnati was able to hang on to Luke Fickell. How did you? Because a lot of people were very interested in a coach that I think bound for superstardom and already accomplishing a lot with Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think most Cincinnati fans think that eventually Coach Fickell will probably go. It's hard to hold on to somebody when you're not in the Power 5 that's as good as Luke Fickell is. But the thing that might keep him in Cincinnati a little while longer is his family situation. He's the father of 6 children. 4 of them are young. Coach Fickell's family is from the Columbus area. His wife's family is from the Columbus area. I just don't see him taking a job that is going to require him to move a long way away from the Cincinnati or Columbus areas. So if Ohio State comes open again, sure. That's where he went to school. That's where he coached for many years. I could see that. I could see Notre Dame, Penn State, a powerhouse-type team somewhere in the Midwest. But I really don't see him going out to the West Coast or Florida or something like that, and that obviously could help Cincinnati.
And, around here we were keeping an eye on the Baylor opening that looked like Justin Fuente might take it. Now he's not, and I've not seen Luke Fickell at all name involved in that. But a name that was involved in almost transferring to Cincinnati, the University of Cincinnati, it looks like now you will call his games as a rookie in the National Football League, the number 1 pick, it feels like, in Southern Ohio native Joe Burrow.
Certainly looks that way. I would be shocked if the Bengals took somebody other than Joe Burrow, although they obviously have to do their due diligence over the next 100 days or so. But as well as he played in those 2 postseason games, and really as well as all year, he has become the presumptive number 1 overall pick. The Bengals coaching staff will be coaching the Senior Bowl next week, and one of the guys that's on their roster is Oregon's Justin Herbert. along with Oklahoma's Jalen Hurts. So they'll see a couple of the other great quarterbacks up close and personal, but I find it hard to believe it's going to be anybody other than Joe Burrow.
And what a story.
No question. He's from Athens, Ohio, which is about a 2.5-hour drive away. Went to Ohio State, as you mentioned, almost transferred to Cincinnati. It came down to Cincinnati and LSU, and it's hard to argue that he made the right choice. But better late than never, I guess, for Cincinnati football fans. It looks like we're going to get our guy, hopefully, for the next 10 years or so.
And he will be ticket seller phenomenon, won't he?
Well, I'd like to think so. There's certainly been a lot of buzz generated by his performance on Monday night and the likelihood that the Bengals are going to take him. One of the local radio stations that carries the Bengals games has already started running promos, the home of Joe Burrow, even though that is premature at this point. So it certainly seems like that's where this train is headed.
Dan, always fun to visit with you, and tonight at FedEx Forum will be a lot of fun. And I know you're getting ready to see Dave in a little bit. Thank you for joining us. I know you're awfully busy on game day, and Bearcats and Tigers at 6 o'clock. Thank you, Dan.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
You got it. Dan Horde, the voice of the Cincinnati Bearcats and the Cincinnati Bengals. Just a little presumptuous maybe to be out there running advertising that you're going to be the home of Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. Last night in the American, it was Tulsa over East Carolina, 65-49. We've talked about the upset of Temple winning at home, 65-53 over Wichita State. And I'm with Dan. I don't know if that makes Wichita State bad or maybe some of the middle or back end of the conference good. And Houston at home, 71-62 over SMU. The only game tonight in the American, it's the Tigers hosting Cincinnati. Last night in the SEC was quite a while with no games tonight, not any more games until Saturday in the SEC. But last night, the big one was Alabama knocking Auburn out of the ranks of the undefeated by 19, 83-64 at Coleman Coliseum. Arkansas last night in Fayetteville by 20 over Vanderbilt, 75-55. Georgia with the big win over Tennessee. And unfortunately, just the truth of the matter now, for Tiger fans, for anybody beating Tennessee, it's not that good of a win anymore. It's just not. It won't look that good. 80-63, 17-point win for Georgia, but the Tigers get the benefit of the Georgia win. And the South Carolina upset at the buzzer after Kentucky hit the big shot that looked like it would go into overtime, but Frank Martin's team able to win in Columbia off the glass with the buzzer beater at the horn, 81-78. When we come back, we round out hour number one, and hour two starts with Inside Hoop City with Elliot Perry. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats and Drew Barrett on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Get happy with Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. Weekday afternoons from 1 till 3 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
There's a new commissary in town. In Collierville, Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Mid-South Power Distributors is your source for all things diesel. Their newly renovated drive-in repair shop is open to the public. Whether it'll be your everyday driver, farm equipment, fleet vehicle, or heavy-duty truck, their ASE-certified technicians will get you back on the road. The on-site dyno is ready to run all the necessary diagnostic testing. From preventative maintenance to complete overhauls, Mid-South Power can handle it all. Stop in today at 3288 Mill Branch Road or call 901-396-0710 and online at mid-southpower.com.
Make your day smoking with the Big Green Egg. You can smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ceramic never rusts, and the easy, accurate temperature control gives you the greatest range of any grill. Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg. Available at these nearby locations: Hamilton Fireplace Shop, 4462 Summer Avenue; Germantown Hardware Company, 2083 South Germantown Road; Garden Spas and Pool, 9393 Poplar Avenue; and East Memphis Ace Hardware, 5143 Quince Road.
For over 25 years, Sports 56 has been bringing you great local sports talk. Available on AM 560, 96.1 FM, and 87.7 FM. With 12 hours of local talk daily, we continue to be Memphis's local sports leader. Get your day started with the Peter Edniston Experience with CJ Hurt from 7 to 10. Sports 56 middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy takes you through lunch from 10 until 1. And then, John Harden brings you Johnny Radio's Happy Hour from 1 to 3. Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy drive you home every afternoon with Sportstime with Wolo and Stats from 3 till 6. And John Rennie wraps up the day with Southern Sports Report from 6 to 7 before we turn things over to Fox Sports Radio to get you through the evening. We also bring you Ole Miss Sports, NFL football, and the NCAA basketball tournament. Don't miss anything. Keep your radio locked in right here on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
We know and we saw Jerry Cumberland be a big-time star last year, and we visited with Dan about the early struggles that he may have had with the new head coach. Last time out, for him, he only had 6 points in a win over Central Florida. Tigers hold him to 6. Tigers win big tonight, don't they?
I think so, definitely. I mean, especially if Precious is fully okay, Lester's 100% ready to play, the Tigers win pretty big.
He had 22 against Tulsa in a rout for Cincinnati over Tulsa on the 8th of January. But he's a big-time player and really could make it inside, outside, make it look easy last year at the AAC tournament.
Yeah, Cumberland, sorry. Don't know why I said Culver there. But Cumberland has always been a big body down low, but I think Precious can handle him. And the reason why he's always dominated against the Tigers is because we just haven't had the size down low to match him. And now we finally do. We have the athleticism and the size down low. So it should be a pretty quiet night for Cumberland.
You know I mean this in the sports fandom context. Do we hate Cincinnati?
Yes. I think still, yeah.
Sports rival?
Yes. I don't think it's as big as it used to be.
And we know why. Bob Huggins. Even Mick Cronin, while I don't even know if Mick Cronin was even unlikable. He was an opponent, but Bob
he was kind of unlikable. I mean, he ran hot. I mean,
he
looked like he was about to have a heart attack every game.
He does.
And he ultimately did, and that's why he had to go on leave for a bit.
But but Bob Huggins is what made this rivalry.
Yeah, he definitely helped it, but I think, it also just goes back to this being...
I don't think Mick Cronin had heart trouble. I think it was Huggins, wasn't it?
No, Mick Cronin was the one that had to...
oh, did he?
Yeah, last year or 2 years ago, he had to step away from the program for a month or two because of heart problems, and you can tell every time he coaches a game, he looks like his head's about to
explode. He'll really have him at UCLA then.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if he thinks that place is going to help his health, he's highly mistaken. But it's just the history of it that the programs have gone back and
forth rivalry
over the years. I still hate Cincinnati. I still consider them a rival, but there just doesn't seem to be the same amount of hate around it as it used to be.
No, it doesn't. And Dave mentioned for a long time they had the advantage in the series back to the 07-08 year, the Tiger Final 2 game. Since then, Cincinnati had been ranked better than until tonight. But it will be fun tonight. It will be packed. It'll be a big crowd there for the Tigers against Cincinnati. But I don't think it was never anything, even in the heyday of playing them both in the Metro or whatever league they were in. It was never on the same par as U of L, and even non-conference, it's not like it is for Tennessee.
No, it's not. And that's just because Louisville is just one against the most.
That's U of L.
It's Louisville. I mean, a school that until I was about 5 years old literally thought it was the University of Loserville because that's all I'd ever heard. So that passion is just way more there. And I haven't played them last year or 2 years ago when we played Louisville in New York.
Couple years
I think
ago.
it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, even then, the passion
Played
was
them
still
well.
there. Played them well. I think lost by double digits, but only 10. It was a lot closer a game than the score said. Yeah, I was very pleased, and you saw what the Tigers had coming up in the future. But the hatred for Louisville is just on a different level, and I don't think even Tennessee or any type of Ole Miss hatred could touch it.
I mentioned Tennessee, and now that just doesn't. That's just not that big a win, but it still is a road win, and that factors in pretty good. But selection committee's not going to be moved by a win over Tennessee this year.
No, it's not as big of a win as we all hoped and thought it would be, but it's still a notch in the belt for the team, for the fans to go up there in a sold-out Thompson-Boling Arena and come away with a win.
I still think the best win of the year probably was in New York against NC State. I don't know that the day of the Tennessee win, it sure felt like that was the win of the year. But now that is starting to lessen. Tonight would be the win of the year to get Cincinnati at home, and then off this weekend, and then the Tigers go on the road next Wednesday night to Tulsa. So the Tigers at home tonight, and a little bit of a break, and that might be good after get a win tonight. A little more practice time, a little more seasoning for this very, very, very young Tiger team. 1 hour down. We start hour 2. We do it on Thursday. Going inside Hoop City. Brought to you by Campbell Clinic. That's with Elliott Perry. That's next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats and Drew Barrett on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main downtown has all your game day needs with 30 TVs. If your game is not on one of the 20 big screens, then sit in a booth with your own remote. The Vault has game day specials on pitchers, buckets of beer, and great food, which is the best thing about the Vault. This is not your normal sports bar. Chef Dirk Meitzler from On Tour and Cafe 621 has all his favorites like Chicken Newport and his new lobster enchilada. Open for lunch and dinner every day with lunch specials for $12 weekdays with a drink. The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main, your downtown place to eat, drink, and watch the game.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
And the coach calls timeout. Wait a minute, you can't call timeout when you have leaks and Mother Nature is roaring through your home. A technical foul from outer space may be in order. Don't know about that, but we can measure your roof from outer space at BrianElderRoofing.com. So if you need repairs or wondering if you think you may have a claim, call me before you call your insurance company. And we've got 0% interest for 60 months with approved credit. We won't try to sell you a new roof if all you need is a repair. My friend Chris Price, a longtime donor of the U of M. Call him, 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com. God bless America, Penny and Mike, and go Tigers. And now back to the game.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
We know what you really want is to go to Sunrise on Jefferson and enjoy a nice leisurely breakfast or lunch made fresh and fast. But a lot of the time, you just don't have the time. That's why if you're in a hurry, the way to go is to call ahead to Sunrise and place your order. That way, all you have to do is swing by, go to the carryout entrance, and walk away with all the sweet deliciousness that is Sunrise. Only quick and taken wherever you're in a hurry to be. Everybody's in a rush some of the time, but that doesn't mean you can't enjoy Sunrise whenever and wherever.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also keep up to date with everything going on by keeping up with Sports 56 on social media. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch for information on breaking news, chances to win prizes, and video of all the shows. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Stay in touch with Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 on social media. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time to go inside Hoop City with Grizzlies radio analyst Elliot Perry. Inside Hoop City is sponsored by Campbell Clinic. Each Thursday, the former Tiger great and 10-year NBA player joins Sportstime with Wolo and Stats to talk Tigers and Grizzlies and all things Hoop City. Now, here's Elliot Perry with Wolo and Stats.
Dave is on his way to FedEx Forum for the Tigers and Cincinnati tonight. That's one half of Hoop City's marquee teams. The other half, back at it tomorrow night against the Cleveland Cavaliers after an electric night on Tuesday night that really has the entire basketball world, if not the sports world, talking about the young Memphis Grizzlies. To talk both teams in Hoop City, Elliot Perry joins us now. Elliot, rhetorical question here. You having fun yet?
Am I having fun yet?
Yeah, we're having fun, aren't we?
Oh, no question about it. We're having some tremendous fun. I mean, I'm just elated at the just the level that the Grizzlies are playing at. The this young team is really gelled together and band together. So yeah, I mean, I think that they've definitely exceeded expectations.
And we thought we were sitting on somewhat of an historic year around here, but I think that was mostly through the college guys, through the Tigers. And now this start for the Grizzlies, and this year the Tigers haven't. Elliot, I loved on Sunday, you tweeted out about the Tiger game, and it really made me think, a lot of people were grousing at the style of play and how the Tigers won. They fought back from 14 down and won on the road. Winning's the object. That's why we play, isn't it?
Yeah, winning is the object. I think for me, what it shows a lot of resilience. It shows, that Penny's team did not give in on the road. They could have easily given in. I mean, they had everything going against them. Guys were sick. They changed the starting lineup. We got down 14 on the road early. We battled back. I mean, so they could have easily given in the second half. They continued to stay together, band together, play hard. And then they didn't get the best performance out of, some of their guys. I mean, you look at Bob played 20 minutes. I mean, he didn't score at all. Boogie played 13 minutes. He was 0 for 2. He didn't score. So two of your guys didn't score a point. Tyler came off the bench, had 17. And even though Lomax went into the starting lineup, I mean, I thought he played down. He only had 4 points. So not that points is everything, but again, it just shows you the resilience of not only just this team, but Penny and his coaching staff really just kind of consistently coaching these guys up. They were able to hold South Florida to 31% or so in the second half. So it was a good comeback.
Yeah, and just just a tough, a nightmare start last year down there, and you described it in your tweet on Sunday. Great comeback and showed a lot of mental toughness, and I agree so much. You can follow Elliot on Twitter at Elliot Perry. And Elliot, I just love the reaction at Elliot L. Perry. I'm sorry, Elliot, I left out the L.
Yeah.
At Elliot L. Perry on Twitter, and I just love the reaction you had the other night to one of those breathtaking plays by Ja. And we're getting them 3 or 4 times a game, and we're getting them for sure every night.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just couldn't hold my emotions. I mean, sometimes I get a little bit too emotional and just get a little unprofessional about what I'm doing. But I think it's just, responding in the moment. I mean, the play he made was an incredible play. And he can make those plays. He's made those plays consistently. But what I do marvel at with him is, again, the pace that he plays at. But his decision making is incredible. This young guy makes tremendous decisions. He doesn't turn the basketball over a lot. He's under control even when he looks like he's not under control. And his ability to really finish in traffic, but also in traffic still make plays and make decisions that's positive for our team.
And he is fearless. He sees things nobody else sees, and then he threads the needle and delivers the pass.
Yeah, I mean, when you play against great players and you play with the great players, you understand that there's a difference. Obviously, this kid is 20 years old, so I mean, you don't want to put that kind of pressure on him. I hear people talking about, this kid will be an MVP in this league. This kid is all. I mean, there are a lot of things. I mean, there's still a lot of basketball to be played. His career is at the beginning, but it's a promising career, and all those things they're on the table. Now that he has to continue to keep his mind fresh, keep his mind engaged, he has to stay healthy. All those things play a factor. But given all of those things, his raw ability, man, he's incredible to me. I mean, I just love watching him play. Yeah,
Elliot, I can't wait to the next game. I can't wait until tomorrow night. Have tomorrow night against the Cavaliers, and then Monday afternoon on the national celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Day, the game against the New Orleans Pelicans that will be without Zion Williamson. We didn't get that fortunate. He's not going to make his debut until Wednesday night with the Pelicans. But on Monday, there are a lot of festivities, but there will also be that basketball game that will be played. I know you are very busy on that day with a lot of different symposiums and being pulled in a lot of different directions. But it is a very, very special day, isn't it?
Definitely a special day. Obviously, Dr. King lost his life here. I mean, that is always, tough to even talk about. But I think more importantly that, we have an opportunity to keep the dream alive. I'm happy that, people go out and volunteer their time and get involved in that. I mean, we have, those games on that day are all games that people can really reflect. So it's not just about basketball,
That's
but
right.
it's about, really reflecting on how far we come, but how far we still have to go. In a lot of areas that Dr. King talked about, it wasn't just race relations. It was, economic pay, housing, thinking about the Poor People's Campaign. So there were a lot of things that he was involved in, and not just this wasn't just about race. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a great day for me.
And on Monday there will be the symposium. I can't wait to hear from Doug Williams.
I'm glad that I was telling Pugs that initially Doug wasn't in the first lineup, and I'm so glad that they got him in the lineup because one, just selfishly I want to meet him too, but just secondly, I mean, this is a guy who we don't hear about as much as we really should hear about for his accomplishments, being the only African American to win a Super Bowl quarterback, and so. Coming from an HBCU. So there are a lot of things that factor into his success, and it just shows that when you're talented, when you work hard, when you're in the right place, at the right time, when you have the right mindset, it doesn't matter where you come from. Anything is possible.
Anything possible, and what a story. And I think he is now still affiliated with the NFL team in Washington, but he lit it up on Super Bowl Sunday, and was such a great player. And I recently saw an NFL, I don't know if documentary on him, but so many people wanted to make him into the running quarterback. Kind of sadly, at that time, the stereotype of most black quarterbacks were more of a runner. And he said, no, I'm a pocket guy. And he was the quintessential pocket guy and had the big Super Bowl Sunday. I even remember him coming to town here in the USFL playing for the Oklahoma Outlaws. Do you remember that?
Okay. No, I don't. I don't at all.
Yeah. And such a good player and Super Bowl champion with Washington in the big win. They fell down 10-0 that day to Denver and roared back and won 42-10. And he was MVP of the game, and he will be honored on Monday with an all-star cast. A lot of honorees through the years. Do you have a favorite through the years of hearing their story or finally meeting them a favorite of yours?
I'm always, I've always been kind of enamored with Bill Russell. I think for various reasons. Obviously, we know the rings, but the time he played in, the things that they had to endure, and kind of how he was able to handle that. His dignity, he always kept his dignity. He always, in the face of all of the things that they had to deal with and the pressures that they had to deal with in arenas that they had to play in, he never gave in, and then still was the ultimate team guy. So I just he's one of my favorite.
Mine through the years, and it was not a basketball player, but mine for me to look over there, and there's Willie Mays.
Yeah.
I mean that's
incredible too.
That's about as good as it gets, because just one of my all-time favorites. But it's every year. I think it's the best day of the year for the Memphis Grizzlies, but they have a lot of good ones. I want you to also get a plug in about the mentoring program.
Yeah, so man, I just continue to talk about the Grizzlies Foundation and what we do in trying to encourage people to volunteer. I keep saying this, that all of us have gotten to where we are, not by ourselves, because somebody mentored us at some phase, whether they called it mentoring or not. And I mentioned that as a basketball team, particularly in a small market, we could be just about the business of basketball. And that's okay, but we decided to use our platform to connect people with people, really make a tangible difference. And it's not just about the money that we spend, but we spend a significant amount of money supporting a lot of organizations that run mentoring programs. We run our own mentoring programs with the Grizzlies Foundation. And so all we ask our city to do, all we ask people to do is to sign up to volunteer. Go to grizzliesfoundation.org, click mentor, sign up, and then, we'll pair you with an organization. And the good thing about it is we have a spot for you. If you don't want to do this alone, what I do is every Tuesday I mentor with 2 other guys. We call what we call team mentoring. It's 3 adults with 6 kids every Tuesday with 6 boys at Grizzlies Prep. You can sign up for our team mentoring program if you don't want to do this alone. If you want to work with juvenile kids, we got GIF. If you want to work with refugees, we got refugee empowerment program over in Binghamton. We have Youth Village. We have Boys and Girls Club. So we have a lot of partners that you can partner with that have mentoring programs or running mentoring programs on their own streets ministries. So you can find a fit for yourself. And then I will say this lastly, Stat, if you have a couple of minutes. One of our great partnerships is, and I want to give Mayor Strickland credit too, is we partner with the city of Memphis. He's allowed us to talk to the department heads to go in there and then recruit from different departments to mentor with our kids. And so I posted a video of Ursula Madden. She mentors at Streets Ministry. And so again, all of these partnerships make a difference in how we try to have an effective impact on our kids. And I just think that the Grizzlies Foundation is one of those NBA organizations that is, in my opinion, out front with this.
No doubt about it. And it's one of the things that, with being a major league town, we get to have you and the franchise gets to have that impact. You called it spending. I call it an investment.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I call it an investment. It's a tremendous investment, and because I'm so passionate about it is the reason that a mentor helped me.
Yeah,
just changed everything, changed my mindset, changed my outcome, changed my
life.
Changed my life and gave me the confidence in myself that all of this is possible. But first, again, we have to embrace the process and we have to go through that. And one of the things I try to do with my young people my young men that I mentor is be vulnerable. Man, I made the same mistakes.
Yeah.
Oh, I realize. Oh, you made that mistake. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you about the time when I made that mistake. Oh, you did. Oh, that's okay. We'll get over that. Now we learn from that, right? And then when they do well, I want to celebrate that.
For sure. You got to celebrate your victories. And Elliot, if the hit rate, I don't even know what it is. I'm not going to throw a percentage out, but even if the hit rate, if it's small, it's still worth it. because and with more hits, you will increase, and it will become contagious, and the hit rate, the batting average would go up. And you mentioned mentors.
Absolutely.
And Elliot, a mentor comes in a lot of different titles and shapes and sizes. It can be a Sunday school teacher. It can be a scout leader.
Yep.
It can be a coach. Often it is a coach. It comes in a lot of different ways, and I guarantee you that effort put in it, the joy and the fulfillment and the fun of being involved will really pay off. So again, give that website one more time.
GrizzliesFoundation.org. You can go up to the corner and click mentoring, and then it'll just prompt you through what you need to do to sign up.
The Tigers' young backcourt. I think most of the difficulties, and Dave is a real advocate of this, and he was very measured on Monday when some people were wanting to freak out even over a win. Dave was very measured that most of the Tiger backcourt problems, it's youth, and over the long haul of the season, it will get fixed. I think you share that too.
Yeah, I think, when you're young, you have that kind of pressure on you. You have those ups and downs, particularly if you're coming out of high school and you're top, you're 5-star, you're 4-star, you're 3-star. I mean, guys are used to playing minutes. You get in college, depending on the system you're in, and you're going to have your ups and downs in college stats. I mean, as great as I'm not trying to pump myself or anything like that. I'm just saying, as great as a career I had in college, my sophomore year, I probably struggled more than anything in the world. I mean, I remember going in on the road in South Carolina and asking Coach Finch to bring me off the bench, just to like I just want to change this thing up, man. I'm struggling, and he just said, "Hey, look, I'm going to stick with you. I believe in you. Things going to work out." And I hit a last-second shot in South Carolina to win the game. And so there are moments when either you're in a shooting slump. You just have to keep going. All that depends on your mindset. It's up to Penny and his staff to keep those guys involved, even the guys that didn't start, that, hey, man, we still can turn this thing around. We're still a team. Your time is going to come. You're going to play minutes. Keep them engaged. Keep them engaged.
Tell me who in practice, a teammate, but when you got to Memphis State University of Memphis now, when you got there and you were going against him every day, you thought, man, this is real. I don't know if I've got it. This guy might be too much. It was somebody you had to tangle with every day in practice like that.
When I got there, I was mostly at the guard spot. I was mostly at that my first practice. I was tangling with Sidney Atkins because he was really on the starting unit before I started with Coach Finch. So Sidney was big. He was left-handed like me. He wasn't your traditional point guard, but he could handle the basketball. And so big. And so.
And then you get to the pros, and there's a lot of those guys that serve
up
the humble pie.
My goodness. Man, oh my goodness! I got to the pros, and that was eye-opening.
And that's what Ja's having to go against. I've heard some make the case. And I kind of agree with it a little bit, that the second trip through the batting order for the Grizzlies, that maybe the next time with tape building up, game plan building up, the awareness of Ja and what the Grizzlies and Taylor Jenkins and what everybody's accomplishing, that the next time around when the Grizzlies play some of these teams, it might be a little different for him.
Yeah, I think teams will make their adjustments. They'll make their adjustments to Ja. They'll make their adjustments to Taylor Jenkins' system. They'll tweak some things that they want to do defensively against us, and then offensively against us. But again, Taylor Jenkins will be making his adjustments as well.
That's right.
And let me say this: that is, it's one thing to have to depend on a guy like, hey, if we just stop James Harden, we're going to stand a great chance of beating this basketball team. If we just, but this Grizzlies team is sustainable because you don't have to stop that one player. I think that they are doing this collectively. And if you look at the stat sheet night in and night out, Jonas may have a big game and everybody else may fill in. Dylan may have a huge game, then everybody else may fill in. Jaren has been playing consistently well and better. He's having big games. Ja may have a big game. So but any one of those guys can have a bad game and we still can win. And that's when you have the right culture.
And the Dylan Brooks contribution night in, night out, guys off the bench hitting a shot or two. I think Grayson Allen's minutes, especially in this stretch has been his best play of the year.
Yeah, I think he's when he's healthy, he's fought his way back into the rotation, and I think he can be a guy off the bench that really can be an X factor for us on any given night. You know, he can score the basketball. He's very athletic, and the one thing I do like about him is he's not skittish. I mean, if he's open, he's going to shoot the basketball. Even if he missed 4 in a row, he can get to the basket. He's a good free throw shooter, good decision maker. I just think sometimes it just takes more time for him to just consistently get acclimated to his role.
Well, this is what we wanted this year in Hoop City.
Absolutely.
Tigers tonight, Grizzlies tomorrow night, Grizzlies on Monday afternoon, and all playing well. Elliot, thank you so much for visiting with us. I love the enthusiasm. People want to tell me you can't really show emotion, and they use the professionalism, and I know we want to be, but look, the hometown announcer. You're the hometown announcer. The hometown crowd loves it.
Man, hey, Stats, I love it, man. It's like I'm playing in the game, but I'm just happy for the organization on both sides. I mean, I'm happy for the Tigers and what Penny has done and is doing. And then Coach Jenkins got off to a really slow start. You know, you got new voices, new systems. You got a young team. You knew everything, and then these guys, the coaching staff, just from the beginning of the season to now, in a short amount of time, you know, have made their adjustments, have built a really good culture, have got their team playing all as one, and then have really identified roles, and so everybody knows what they're supposed to do on this basketball team. They're going out there and executing that.
Elliot, thank you so much. We'll do it again next Thursday. Enjoy. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Look forward.
You got it. Elliot Perry talking Grizzlies and Tigers with us each and every Thursday afternoon, and I don't think you ever have to make apologies for showing that raw enthusiasm, and you're getting it. You're getting it night in, night out in the crowd and on the floor from the Grizzlies and from the Tigers, and a big one tonight for the Tigers, and then back at it tomorrow night for the Grizzlies against Cleveland, 19-22 to get within 2 of 500. You remember last year with the 12-5 start, and it quickly went away, and last year became what it became. And I said whenever the next time the Grizzlies get to 7 over 500, then the bad old days are behind us. I don't know that the Grizzlies ever get to 7 over 500 this year, but I think the bad old days are already behind us.
I think they are. Just the excitement around town about the Grizzlies, I mean, obviously well-earned. I mean, looking at the win-loss record that we did before the year, at this point, I think I've had them maybe winning 15 games, if that. Actually, no, let me count them.
I only had 22 for the year.
I had 28 for the year and really tanking in the back end, so I think I had like 12.
And you go through it now. There's still going to be some losses. There will be a tough stretch, really tough a late February road trip, Sacramento, Lakers, Clippers, Houston. And, you know, easily come out of that over. Almost can schedule that in. But the 6-game losing streak was the longest of the year, stretching from the 17th of November through the 29th of November. Since then, what fun we've been on. And very few times has it been, oh, my, this team's – I don't know of a time that it's been, oh, my, this team's awful.
I honestly can't remember a time where –
it was, oh, my, this team's young.
There's a lot of that. Oh my, the coach is making rookie mistakes as well.
This team's limited.
But there's never been a time where you thought that this team doesn't belong on the court.
Can the Grizzlies sustain, and I think I know the answer, it's no, to keep this torrid – shooting and offensive production up, you might can sustain it. You might can at home, but once you get back out on the road again with kind of going through the batting order the second time, I believe in that teams are going to now. The Grizzlies now have their attention.
No, they definitely do have their attention, and it's not going to be a night where. Who was it? Greenberg a couple days ago.
Mike Greenberg
saying, well, of course Russell Westbrook didn't play. It's against Memphis. I don't think that Memphis is now going to be the dedicated rest night. It's not going to be the load management night.
You can play who you want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally fine with it. That just helps the Grizzlies win even more, but I don't think that a lot of teams had the Grizzlies game circled of when we're going to do some load management stuff possibilities there, and I think that is slowly getting uncircled.
Couple of breaking stories if you haven't heard today already. The New York Mets At 0-0, they have fired Carlos Beltran. The new word, parting ways. No, they fired him. He's not going to manage the New York Mets this year at 0-0.
Mutually parted ways.
Mutually parted ways. That might have been part of the settlement that I was referring to with the contractual terms. But that's the third manager now embroiled in this scandal with the espionage, with the stealing of signs, the technology stealing of signs, not the old-fashioned way. But 3 out of 30 already fired, and 2 of them winners of the World Series in 2017 and 2018. Justin Fuente, he tweeted out from a staff meeting this morning at Virginia Tech, basically all calm here, he's staying. And Dave Aranda, the highly touted and thought of and respected defensive coordinator for LSU, now is expected to take the Baylor job. Billy Napier, everybody was going to hire Billy Napier, and nobody got him.
Yeah, it's so weird how
What's
these.
he waiting on?
I don't know what he's waiting on to pull the trigger. You think after what Matt Rule has done at Baylor, he would be nipping at the bits to try to get that job. And I thought Justin Fuente would have worked out at Baylor. I mean, Fuente, that
better win next
he's
year.
a Midwest guy, a Big 12 guy, and I thought that it's kind of the situation that he always wanted to really be in, but I guess he really enjoys Blacksburg.
I spoke to a buddy of mine on the Virginia Tech staff yesterday morning, and he thought they were gone. It felt like they, for sure, going to Baylor and not staying at Virginia Tech. You better win next year with the Hokies. But Dave Aranda, another loss for LSU. Great week for LSU, but expensive week.
Very expensive week, and not really just in their own program. I mean, what OBJ is costing somebody in that athletic department a huge headache this week between the money and then the slap on the butt. Which one is it a little bit? Is it a little bit overkill to have an arrest warrant out for that? Yes, but you should never touch anybody, and you should never touch an officer with a weapon.
No, or without one.
Or without a weapon. They are in charge.
Don't touch them. But the party in New Orleans, you had a feeling going into it that it would be some of these kind of stories. I didn't know it would be somebody on the field right after the game making it rain, but they did. When we come back, we'll talk the NFC and the AFC championship games this weekend. They're all set. Packers and Niners and the Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs. We do that next with Russell Copeland on Sportstime with Wolo and Stats and Drew Barrett on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find Real Sports Talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
Help us make room for our incoming inventory at Family Leisure. Save thousands on all floor model spas. Floor model play gyms up to 50% off. Patio furniture 10 to 50% off. Don't wait until May to purchase your swimming pool. Buy now and get scheduled for the spring installation. Additional discounts on all swimming pools, grills, fire pits, outdoor kitchens. Get to I-40 and Whidden Road. There's always something good at Family Leisure.
Well, family and fun come together.
If you've always thought, hey, I'd look pretty good in Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus thinks so too. Lexus is offering you the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Great offers on all 2020 models and special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500. Hey, you look pretty good there. Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event at Lexus of Memphis. Experience amazing.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. For over 25 years, Sports 56 has been bringing you great local sports talk. Available on AM 560, 96.1 FM, and 87.7 FM. With 12 hours of local talk daily, we continue to be Memphis's local sports leader. Get your day started with the Peter Edmiston Experience with CJ Hurt from 7 to 10. Sports 56 Middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy takes you through lunch from 10 until 1. And then, John Harden brings you Johnny Radio's Happy Hour from 1 to 3. 3. Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy drive you home every afternoon with Sports Time with Wolo and Stats from 3 till 6. And John Rennie wraps up the day with Southern Sports Report from 6 to 7 before we turn things over to Fox Sports Radio to get you through the evening. We also bring you Ole Miss sports, NFL football, and the NCAA basketball tournament. Don't miss anything. Keep your radio locked in right here on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
We welcome you back into our Family Leisure Studios, and you can be a part of our show by dialing 360-8255 at the First Bank phone line or 67129 at the First Bank text line. You always can watch us live and message us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, and YouTube. If you have missed a portion of the show, you can always go to sports56whbq.com to the podcast at any time and listen to any part of this show or any of all of our shows at any point you would like to. NFL this weekend. I don't know that there's ever been a year that I haven't said this about heading into conference championship games on Sunday, but I love this Final Four. I think I say that every year, but I do love it every year. And the first game on Sunday will be the Titans visiting Arrowhead to play Kansas City. 7-point favorite Kansas City right now. And the second game, about 5:40 on Fox, will be the 7.5-point favorite and home team 49ers against the Green Bay Packers. We've been talking NFL all year long at this time, and we're down to Russell Copeland. I think the best Sunday of the year, that's often said too, of the NFL, and that's the two conference championship games. I love these matchups Sunday, Russell.
Brett, I definitely do, and this year's playoffs has had, a little bit of everything. And, you started off with Wild Card Weekend, and it was phenomenal. You had the two overtime games. Both of the number 6 seeds advanced. The Vikings defeated the Saints. The Titans defeated the Patriots. And I was like, going into the divisional week, how could the division games top Wild Card Weekend? And I tell you what, they were just as spectacular, Brett. And, for the Chiefs to come from down for 24 points in the first quarter and scoring 28 points in the second quarter and then being able to win by 20, I think we saw what Patrick Mahomes was able to do. And Andrew Reid kept his team focused. And then watching the Titans, 6 seed, and it's only been 6 times that a 6 seed has advanced, to this round and even further. And for them to beat Lamar Jackson and how that defense is playing. But I think when you look at that team, you have to be able to look at Derrick Henry and what Derrick Henry has been able to do these past 3 games. And in the playoffs, I mean, he's having over 300 and some yards, nearly 400 yards. I think he is the key for this team. And I think, and I heard you say it earlier, I think these matchups are great, but I think any of these 4 teams legitimately has an opportunity to win and go to the Super Bowl.
Including Ryan Tannehill.
Exactly. And I think
I do
when
too.
You look at what do you say, Brett?
I think I agree with you. I think any one of the 4 could be holding the Lombardi Trophy in a couple Sundays.
Definitely, and we're talking about the Chiefs matchup. You're talking about the Chiefs and the Titans, and I'm going to start with the Titans. And I think the Titans have the formula to be able to win at Arrowhead because they play great defense and they have a stellar running game. And this defense were able to stop the Patriots on the goal line. They were able to stop the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson 4 times on 4th down. They have an outstanding front 4. Their linebackers fly to the ball, and they'll have to be able to slow the football game down in order to take some time off the clock to win the possession in order to win.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And what I like is that both of these games are matchups that we've seen earlier in the year. And the Titans were able to beat the Chiefs in Week 10. And I think that victory in Week 10 propelled them to be able to make it to the playoffs. They were 5-5. They had a bye week, and it gave them a little bit of momentum. And guess what? Derrick Henry had over 180 yards that game. So they have beaten this team before. But I just think when you look at Kansas City is hot now. And I think them being able to come down out from behind from 24 points, I think they have that confidence. And I think for them, they're going to try to get ahead of the game and try to take the running game away from the Titans. And I think they have so many weapons. I just think that's going to be the biggest difference. And who do you double when you look at the Chiefs? Who do you double? Do you double Tyreek Hill? Do you double Kelsey? If you try to play two-man, double those guys, now you be able to, how are you going to stop the run? I just think overall, if the Titans cannot get Derrick Henry going, I think the Chiefs will be able to win this game. I think it'll be a good matchup, but I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Who do you double? I think you got to throw a net around Kelsey first and make him throw it deep, try to intercept it.
You know, when you look at Travis Kelce, I looked at the game last week, and I saw how he was able to run routes. I mean, from a tight end standpoint, and big as he is, he was running routes like a receiver. He was able to set the defensive backs up. He was able to hesitate, to pause. He was able to get space. He was catching the football, running after the catch. If you double Kelsey, you got a guy that runs 4-2, and that's Tyreek Hill. So if you double him, someone's going to have to be able to go one-on-one. And I think that's going to be the biggest decision that they're going to have to be able to make. They're going to have to be very slick. They're going to have to be able to change things at the line of scrimmage, because you cannot line up against the Chiefs and let Patrick Mahomes come up without changing things at the snap when the ball is snapped, because now he can look and see what coverage you're making, and he has too many weapons. They're going to have to do a lot of different things. They're going to disguise a lot of things, but that's going to be the biggest challenge for them. They got so many weapons, Patrick Mahomes does, with the guys outside, and probably arguably the best tight end in the game.
And both of these games are rematches of regular season games. San Francisco won big at home over Green Bay, but the Titans, as you referenced earlier, they went on the road and won 35-32 over Kansas City. That's got to bolster the confidence. Already done it once. Ought to think you can do it again.
Exactly. And when you look at the Titans, I mean, when you're the 6th seed and you go on the road and you beat the defending Super Bowl champions at their place, and you come and you beat Lamar Jackson, who's probably going to be the MVP, and you beat them at their place, they have all the confidence now, because now you're going to play a Kansas City Chiefs team, and everybody say, hey, this Kansas City Chiefs team can score a lot of points. They can do this, that, and that. They're saying, not so fast, my friend. We've already beaten this team. So right now you have a Tennessee Titans team that's a 6th seed, but they have a lot of confidence. And a team that's a 6th seed and has a lot of confidence going into the playoffs and the championship team, they can be very dangerous. I'm looking forward to the matchup. I just think overall, when it comes down to it, Patrick Mahomes has a lot of weapons, and I think they can get ahead. And I don't know if Tannehill will be able to finally bring his team back as far as in the playoffs. He was able to do it when they won 35-32. He came back with a 61-yard drive, and they won the football game. But in these playoffs, it's been Derrick Henry, and he has not thrown over 100 yards. He's going to have to be able to do a little bit more if they're going to come up with this victory.
So in that game, which side are you taking?
I'm going to take Kansas City.
Okay. Big or over the point spread or narrow?
I think it'll be narrow. I think if it goes over the point spread, it'll be a little bit late in the fourth quarter. But I think it'll be back and forth for a while, and anything can happen when it's back and forth. I just think at the end they have a lot of talent, and it's hard for me to go against Patrick Mahomes right now.
Russell, were you on the sideline for were you part of the Buffalo Bills in the big comeback against the Oilers?
No, I was still in Memphis that year, but you know, I saw so many things. I've seen a lot of film on that, and just being able to watch it, and just looking at Frank Wright and the things he was able to do.
He had a day, didn't he? Frank Reich was on fire in that game. That was not Jim Kelly. That was Frank Reich coming off the bench, and I would imagine around Buffalo you heard a lot of stories from that win.
Definitely so, and I think the main thing when you're talking about coming back, I think you have to take one play at a time, one quarter at a time, and once you can gain momentum and get a couple of breaks, you can come back, and that's really what happened when you look at the Chiefs. When you look at the Chiefs game, I was saying, hey, man, if this team doesn't wake up, it's about to be a big upset. But they were able to get a couple of breaks. They got a special team fumble. And after that, they started gaining momentum. They woke up a little bit, and then they simply was too much for the Texans to be able to catch up with. Once they get ahead of you, it's hard to catch up with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think the biggest thing for the Chiefs is that they remind me of a basketball team, and that's the Golden State Warriors in the past. I think when you have an offense this explosive, you always have a chance to come back. And that's one thing that they have. They can always come back because they can score so fast.
51-7 run they win on. We're talking with Russell Copeland. We have all year at 4:30 on Thursday on the NFL. Tiger Great NFL standout, and been so much fun all year talking these games. So he's siding with the Chiefs. Russell, you're siding with the Chiefs in Game 1. Game 2 in the Bay Area in Santa Clara, home of the 49ers, hosted Super Bowl 50 in that stadium. Last year, the college football playoff national championship game was in that stadium. Now the NFC championship game, 16th all-time for the San Francisco 49ers. This is not Joe Montana and Steve Young. This is Jimmy Garoppolo's Niners.
It definitely is, and it is his time. But I think when you look at this team is built around defense and running the football. And when you look at how they run the football, they have 4 running backs they can put in at any time, and it just depends on pretty much who is the hot back. You look at Tevin Coleman, you look at Matt Breida, you look at Raheem Mostert, and you look at Jeff Wilson Jr. They can switch any of those backs out. But I do like what Jimmy Garoppolo has been able to do over the last month. He's been able, when they stop the run, he's been able to spread the football around, and he has arguably 1A or 1B when you look at his tight end. I think George Kittle is outstanding, and something else that helps him out a lot, he has your fullback, Kyle Juszczyk, coming out of the backfield. That helps. But I think the biggest thing for him is when they've got the trade for Emmanuel Sanders. I think he has definitely helped the young receiver, Deebo Samuel, as far as running routes, as far as showing how to look at coverage, to manipulate coverage, to slow down, to be able to run routes and be able to explode out of different coverages. I think that's going to be big. So I do like the 49ers, how they play their defense. And when you look at the Packers, I think the Packers want to be able to come back and attain for the loss that they had earlier, because that defensive front simply dominated the Green Bay Packers. And if they're going to win this football game, they're going to have to do a lot of quick passes. They're going to have to be able to run the football, and they're going to have to be able to understand where the blitz is coming from. They're going to have to communicate on the line. And I think that's going to be tough for them. That's why I'm going to pick the Niners.
In the 49ers' own way, they're almost as physical and as nasty with the run game as the Titans and Derrick Henry are.
They definitely are. I mean, they switch up backs. And when you're playing in the playoffs, you want to be able to stop the run, you want to play physical, and you want to be able to run the football. And that's what the San Francisco 49ers want to do. And everything is predicated off of their run action. They do a lot of play action. They throw to the tight end in the flat. They can run him in the backfield. They can take their fullback and they can line him up. And their defense simply puts a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback. And if you look at them, they've got about 6 or 7 guys that they switch in and out. You got D Ford, you got Sheldon Doyd, you got DeForest Buckner, you got Armstead, you got Nick Bosa,
they roll
Alexander. Yeah, man. I mean, they have a lot of guys. And on the back end of that, you have one of the smartest cornerbacks in the game, and you have Richard Sherman. And a lot of people say he plays a lot of that cover 3 zone, but I watched him last week, and he was able to line up in a slot, and he was able to play man-to-man, and he was able to get a big interception earlier in that football game. So that's what helps them out. I just don't know if the Packers are going to be healthy enough on their offensive line to be able to stop this front. They're going to have to use their defensive line, and they're going to have to use the Smith brothers to be able to create havoc and hopefully get some early turnovers and jump up in this football game and maybe stun the Niners early in the first half.
Any weaknesses to Richard Sherman's game?
Well, he's so smart. I think the only weakness that you'll look at is that he doesn't have the same top-end speed that he used to have. Of course, he doesn't.
Age, yeah.
And with his age and he coming off of Achilles, but what he does with that, he's able to look at coverages. He's able to be able to see whatever the formation is, and he plays off that formation. He peaks in the backfield, but he's so smart, and he still has the quickness. He just does not have the top speed. So that's why they play him in a lot of cover 3, but he can manipulate a quarterback because he knows the coverages and he knows where he's supposed to be. And so he creates a space only to eat it up and bait the quarterback. But he's very intelligent. He's very smart. He's played this game for a long time, and he has definitely helped that secondary.
He has, and he is very motivated. Sometimes he almost won't take yes for an answer. Yes, you're one of the great players of all time.
That's one thing I like about Richard Sherman is that, he wants to be the best, but at the same time, he feels like he's the hunted. He feels like he has not gotten the dues that he's gotten when he was playing with Seattle. It's always because, he's got a great defense. He doesn't feel like he's ever been looked at and said he's a shutdown corner, he's a great corner. So he wants to come out and prove it all the time. And I think that's why he's playing in his early 30s at the cornerback position, and he's playing at a high level, going back to the Pro Bowl. He's been a great addition to the San Francisco 49ers secondary and as a leader for this team.
So a Patrick Mahomes versus Jimmy Garoppolo Super Bowl in Miami for Super Bowl 54 is your prediction.
That's my prediction. I'm just looking forward to it. It's just been an outstanding playoffs, and it's been a great football year, but it's been an outstanding playoffs. I can't remember the last time that the playoffs has been this competitive.
And again, I think a lot of it for me, let me just speak for me, having New England off the scene and something fresh. If you're a Patriots fan in our listening area, it's not a shot. I know you've reveled in all these titles, but the rest of the football world, We were ready for something different. That cracked open, and that made it a very real, wide-open year once they were eliminated.
I totally agree as far as the excitement. And I'm going to say, what the New England Patriots have been able to do, I think it's been outstanding. It's been great.
It has
They've
been.
definitely had a dynasty. But when you look at when the Patriots are out of it, now you look and say there's fresh blood, and we know that there's going to be someone different playing in the Super Bowl, and also there's going to be another champion. So it's wide open right now, and it's just been outstanding. I mean, opening week, to have 2 overtime games and to have the 2 6 seeds to be able to advance, and the margin of victory was only 8 points. I think that was outstanding. And last week, man, you couldn't turn your television off. You looked at the Chiefs, you just couldn't turn it off. And who would have thought that Derrick Henry, again, will be able to put up those numbers again, and he gets stronger and stronger as the game goes, and he put up 192 yards last weekend against a good Baltimore Ravens team. And the Tennessee Titans, if they don't have your respect now, I think they have your respect and they have your attention, and they'll definitely have the attention of the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend.
And late in the game, you just don't want any more of it in run support defense, and especially for, smaller defensive backs having to come up and face that after he's cleared that first level and he's headed downhill.
I mean, when you look at Derrick Henry, he has 239 yards after contact in the playoffs. That's a lot. So when you look at him being 6'3", 255 pounds, 260 pounds, he runs a 4.4, 4.5. If there's not a hole there, he's big enough to be able to make a hole. But once he gets outside, he can stiff arm you or he can run past you. So he's definitely hard to bring down. And when you get him 30, 35 carries and he's coming in, he's coming downhill, that will wear a defense out.
Russell, we'll talk about it next week, and then in 2 weeks on the eve of Super Bowl 54, we'll have Super Bowl picks. We'll know for sure after Sunday who will be in it. Thank you so much. Enjoy the games on Sunday afternoon. It'll be a long day of football, but it'll be fun watching. Thank you, Russell.
Definitely. Thank you, Brett.
You got it. Russell Copeland talking NFL with us all year, and it has been fun. 360-8255. Line up now. 360-8255, the First Bank phone line only. For a Germantown commissary, 6-pack of barbecue at either the Germantown commissary or the Collierville commissary, and it relates to Tiger basketball, and there will be a part 2, but it'll be easy. Put your thinking cap on. Put your thinking cap on for a Germantown commissary, 6-pack of barbecue at either place, either the Collierville commissary or the Germantown commissary. When was the last time Cincinnati went to the Final Four in basketball? Last time Cincinnati went to the Final Four, I even mentioned it when we were talking to Dan Horde. Last year, Cincinnati went to the Final Four in basketball. You can get that 6-pack of barbecue at either place, the new Collierville commissary, Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown, Memphis-style barbecue and ribs. Delicious, authentic Memphis-style, great food. Begin that barbecue feast with some great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos. The smoked chicken wings are fantastic. Then dig into the ribs or the barbecue shoulder. Get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich, a big gigantic sandwich, or you can get it on a plate. Comes with beans, slaw, deviled eggs, and bread as well. You can even order it by the pound or a 6-pack like we're giving away, or an 8-pack or a 12-pack. Don't forget about the other menu items like the Boss Man salad, the chicken plate, or the barbecue shrimp, and the wonderful hot tamales dressed with chili, cheese, onions, also very good, and wrap it up with the best lemon ice box pie anywhere. The banana pudding, terrific as well. 754-5540, 901-754-5540, or online at commissarybarbecue.com in Collierville and in Germantown. Great party areas. If you're not going downtown to FedEx Forum tonight, the great areas at the Collierville commissary to go and watch the game with a group of friends. Walker Taylor, he's done it the right way at both places, the Germantown and Collierville commissary. 360-8255. Last time the Cincinnati Bearcats went to the Final Four. There will be a part 2, but it's easy. It's really easy. And I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned the part 2 earlier, but I know I mentioned the year earlier when we were visiting with Dan Horde to win a 6-pack of barbecue at the Collierville or Germantown commissary. That's next, wrapping up hour 2. We start hour number 3 at 5 o'clock with Todd Lebo from WHB in Kansas City, 810 WHB in Kansas City. Guess what that's about? It's about the Chiefs. That's next. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats and Drew Baird on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
Pop Wigington has been in the restaurant business since the 70s and has now brought 3 generations of family favorites together under one roof at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's takes you back to a simpler time when food and life was more wholesome. Settle down today for lunch or dinner at Pop's with daily specials like country fried steak, fried catfish, chicken and dumplings, or Pop's famous fried chicken livers, all served up with your choice of 23 fresh vegetables like field peas and snaps, seasoned green beans, sweet corn and turnip greens. Hungry for a sandwich? Check out the Chuck, a hand-patted cheeseburger between 2 grilled cheese buns topped with lettuce, tomato, diced onion, pickles, fried egg, and bacon. Or a half-pound flat iron steak sandwich served on Texas toast. Don't forget one of Grandma's homemade desserts like chess pie or banana pudding. Take comfort today at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's Comfort Kitchen.
And the coach calls timeout. Wait a minute, you can't call timeout when you have leaks and Mother Nature is roaring through your home. A technical foul from outer space may be in order. Don't know about that, but we can measure your roof from outer space at BrianElderRoofing.com.
So if you need repairs or wondering if you think you may have a claim,
call me before you call your insurance company. And we've got 0% interest for 60 months with approved credit. We won't try to sell you a new roof if all you need is a repair.
My friend Chris Price, a longtime donor of the U of M. Call him, 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
God bless America, Penny and Mike, and go Tigers.
And now back to the game.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC accredited facility and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselemembrace.com.
Our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
Now, this is the way to ring in the new year.
Sweetgrass is amazing food and all kinds of games to watch.
Since Sweetgrass changed the layout, now we can enjoy all the meaningful NFL games and enjoy our favorite menu in Midtown.
You're not the only one that used to sneak over to next door to check the scores.
It's true. I think you did it more than I did.
Well, I have a lot of favorite teams.
And I have a lot of favorite Sweetgrass foods.
Now we have the best of both worlds. Great Sweetgrass food and plenty of TVs to watch sports.
Everything we always loved now in one place. Sweetgrass, right here in the heart of Cooper Young.
Make your day smoking with the Big Green Egg. You can smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ceramic never rusts, and the easy, accurate temperature control gives you the greatest range of any grill. Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg. Available at these nearby locations: Hamilton Fireplace Shop, 4462 Summer Avenue; Germantown Hardware Company, 2083 South Germantown Road; Garden Spas and Pool, 9393 Poplar Avenue; and East Memphis Ace Hardware, 5143 Quince Road.
Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Sports 56 and 87.7 FM. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
360-8255 at the First Bank phone line to answer the Germantown Commissary or Collierville Commissary. Big cue of the day last time the Cincinnati Bearcats went to the Final Four, and there will be a part two. Sam, good afternoon, Sam.
Hello.
Hello, Sam.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello
sir.
there.
It's all you.
Would it be 1992?
1992 is correct, Sam. Who did they defeat in the Elite Eight to advance to the Final Four in Minneapolis?
University of Memphis, or Memphis State.
Sure did, but that was the fourth time that year. And
I hated that.
I did too, Sam, and it kept getting worse every time. And at some point, just quit trying it. Hey, for extra credit. You ready? Maybe even a second gift certificate. How about that? I'll throw that at you if you can answer this. Who knocked off Cincinnati in the Final Four on Saturday afternoon in Minneapolis? Who knocked them out?
Ooh.
You've already won. I'm not taking that one from you. I'm not going to be that kind of guy.
Ooh.
Chris Webber and Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Webber and Michigan. Then because they played Duke back-to-back years. Sam, I'm going to put you on hold. Get with Drew. Give him all your particulars. You're a winner. Thank you very much. Everybody else that's on hold, I'm very sorry, but we often give away 6-packs of barbecue at the Germantown Commissary. Sam could have walked out with 2 today. 1992 for Cincinnati. So it's been since 92 for Cincinnati. It's been since 2008 for the Tigers. The Tigers, I think, will go to the Final Four again before Cincinnati, before they go again. But Cincinnati, a long time for them, and basketball really, really matters to them, and some great coaches. Hard to believe that 92 Final Four appearance was the only one for Bob Huggins. Is that right? Or did he go to one at West Virginia? Did Huggins go to a Final Four at West Virginia, or was that John Beilein at West Virginia? I think Cincinnati's the only place.
I think it is. I don't think he did one.
Huggy Bear is back this year. West Virginia's got a good team, very improved. He had a little bit of a operational pause last year to get his team back. Last night in the SEC, were you surprised with South Carolina's buzzer beater thriller over Kentucky?
Yeah, because I didn't think South Carolina is that good.
They're not. And now Kentucky's got to go to Fayetteville.
And now I'm starting to think
Saturday.
Kentucky's not as good as I thought.
And I want to correct something from earlier. Texture corrected me. It was the Titans winning at home against Kansas City back in November. You're right. I made a mistake. I said they already had been on the road to Arrowhead. That was at home on early November. And they won in Nashville. Ryan Tannehill in the Super Bowl. It wouldn't shock me.
Wouldn't shock me either, and especially if the Titans play the way that they did against Kansas City the first time, because I believe they won that game in wild fashion. I think that was the blocked field goal game for the Titans.
And Eli Savoy from our station, he will be in Miami all week on Radio Row for all the coverage of the big game, Super Bowl 54. And, of course, we'll have it all right here for you on Super Bowl Sunday afternoon from Westwood One, with Kevin Harlan being the play-by-play announcer. That I bet Eli catches up with him and a lot of the Westwood One crew on Radio Row. Always fun to visit with one of the very best, and recognized this year as the broadcaster of the year, Kevin Harlan. Fun to listen to him. That's Super Bowl 54 in a couple of Sundays, but this Sunday we got AFC and NFC championship games. We will talk about that AFC championship game to start the third and final hour with Todd Lebo from 810 WHB in Kansas City. That's next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats and Drew Barrett on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive? Take the car for a couple of days if you want. Streamlined buying process. You're not going to be there all day. In and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar. Take it into Mississippi. The first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
I'm here with Robert Cox, kitchen manager of the Rendezvous Restaurant. Tell us about those great ribs at the Rendezvous.
Rendezvous stands alone in a unique barbecue style, only found in Memphis, Tennessee. We don't smoke our ribs, we char broil them. The guys cooking our ribs have been doing it for 30 years. Mr. Charlie Virgos taught the guys the technique himself, and still to this day, they teach newcomers that come in the door. After our ribs come out the pit, we pre-cut every order, so you easily can tear them apart. We baste our ribs on a plate and sprinkle our seasoning all over them.
So, Robert, are ribs what everyone comes to the Rendezvous for?
The beef brisket is now our second best seller behind the ribs. We also have lamb riblets, half chicken, pork shoulder, chopped chicken, cheese and sausage plate. Nachos are fantastic. We also carry a Greek salad. The list goes on.
Robert, where can we find out more about all of these great options?
Our restaurant menu is online at hogsfly.com, and recently we just added our catering menu online.
Mr. Charlie Virgos' Rendezvous Restaurant, a family-owned restaurant in downtown Memphis, in the alley since 1948.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold? Medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The construction reduction event is on at Wolf Chase Honda. Exciting changes are in the works and inventory must be reduced. Get the best deals right now on all remaining 2019 Hondas while they last. Every new car, every certified, every used car, price to go. Get pre-approved now at wolfchasehonda.com. Wolf Chase Honda is expanding and our prices are dropping. Don't miss these savings. Act now. This huge construction reduction event ends soon.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family-owned since 1981.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1, and 87.7 FM, as well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app, and at home, tell Alexa or Google to play Sports 56. If it's happening in the world of sports, we've got it covered. Wherever you are, stay tuned to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Dave is already courtside at FedEx Forum for the Tigers and the Bearcats tonight. He'll be back in with us tomorrow at 3 o'clock. This hour brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales. I spent a lot of the day down at DeSoto Auto Sales today. We were down there for lunch. We had enough pizza to feed everybody in town. It was terrific visiting with Big Mike and the whole crew down at DeSoto Auto Sales. So appreciative of them, and they are appreciative of you. And they want to thank you again for a great 2019 and off to a great start in 2020. Great people down at DeSoto Auto Sales. When I say kind, courteous employees, I mean it. And down-home atmosphere, I mean it. You need to get down to Goodman Road, 5704 Goodman Road, to DeSoto Auto Sales. They specialize in late model cars, low mileage. All the cars are test-driven, checked out head to toe. I saw the checking out department. I saw the detailing department. They all are checked out, quite literally, bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find it for you. It's on the lot. There's a lot of cars at DeSoto Auto Sales down on Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Go online and see what their customers that have already dealt with them have to say about them at DeSotoAutoSales.com. You'll be pleased. Check out the referrals. They promise you this. They promise you, they know that we're living in a world today that time really matters, and they want you to have that ultimate car experience. Walk in, meet with your sales rep, very courteous. Test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork done. You're gone in less than an hour. Visit them online again for the referrals at DeSotoAutosales.com. Down on Goodman Road in DeSoto County. Head down there for the town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road. Joining us now to talk the AFC Championship game, and I love going to his Twitter site. Todd Lebo joins us now, and it has that desk photo of the two helmets, the Kansas City helmet, the Tennessee helmet, and the Lamar Hunt Trophy. Todd, that has a ring to it in Kansas City, doesn't it?
Well, they've never had the Lamar Hunt Trophy here in Kansas City being held by anybody other than the Patriots because they won it last year. Interesting today, they had the two helmets there today, but then they had a football in there. So I don't know if they took the Lamar Hunt Trophy to Tennessee today. I don't know if people saw it out at their facility or not, but yeah, it was pretty neat to see that in Kansas City yesterday. And Lamar Hunt obviously was the founder of the Chiefs, and his son Clark is the chairman of them now, and they've never actually held that trophy because it wasn't named that when the Chiefs made the Super Bowl back in 1969-70 season.
50 years ago for Super Bowl IV down in New Orleans, the Kansas City Chiefs win it. It's been a long time since that win over the Vikings. Close last year, home field advantage, had to run into that monolith called the Patriots. Not this year, though. The mood around town, does it feel like make your plans for Miami?
Well, it's kind of felt like that for about 3 weeks now. When Miami beat New England in the final game of the regular season, and it gave the Chiefs a bye, I think people started getting really confident that some things were happening the Chiefs' way. They've had an up-and-down year. You know, when Tennessee beat the Chiefs in whatever week that was, week 10, the Chiefs were just 6-4. They haven't lost since then. Had a lot of injuries. You know, Patrick Mahomes missed a couple of games. Tyreek Hill missed a couple of games. Chris Jones may miss this one. He's missed some games. Frank Clark's missed games. And then everything kind of started going their way when the Dolphins beat the Patriots. And then, of course, the Titans last Saturday night beat the Ravens. It's just like, wow, all this stuff's happening. You always dream as a fan when you get the playoff bracket. Well, you know, if someone upsets someone, maybe you get a home game.
Yeah.
And that happened for the Chiefs. And you're right. It's not Bill Belichick and Tom Brady walking in here. Mike Vrabel, who I think is a very good coach, obviously, and Ryan Tannehill, who I recall more as a wide receiver at Texas A&M, you know, when he was in college. And now the guy, he's 60 minutes from the Super Bowl. It's a crazy world we're living in.
Here's another crazy aspect to Ryan Tannehill, wide receiver at A&M in the Big 12.
Yes. Before it was SEC, I remember watching him play, and he played quarterback too, obviously. But we watched him play a lot of wide receiver and quarterback at A&M. And I was kind of surprised when he was a first-round pick, but I always tell people it only takes one. Someone tells you you're that guy. And, you know, there was a stretch there where there were a whole bunch of guys got picked in the first round who haven't turned out to be all that great. You know, Jake Locker, Christian Ponder, Blaine Gabbert from around these parts. And Ryan Tannehill's still sitting there slinging it around. And if all he's got to do is win a football game, and he's going to go to the Super Bowl. It's pretty crazy.
It is, and these two franchises, the Chiefs, founded in Dallas as the Dallas Texans, then moved to Kansas City. There's even a Memphis tie in there, but it'd take too long to tell the whole story. But Lamar Hunt passed on Memphis and landed in Kansas City. And then on the other side, the Bud Adams family, Amy Adams' sister now running the team, they started in Houston, as we all well know, and the 1 year in Memphis and then now in Nashville. Well, you know, very much the leader of the sports scene now in Nashville. But this is back to AFL. What did those owners call that club in the AFL?
The Foolish Club. The Foolish Club.
Yeah, the Hunt family and the Adams family made it work, as did the Wilsons and the other members of the Foolish Club.
Yeah, they did. And if you come to Arrowhead Stadium now, there's a spot in the club level, if you're lucky enough to have a club level seat, called the Foolish Club.
Wow.
Where, you know, it's got a bunch of really great old pictures of those times. And, it's a place to get a drink, have some food, whatever. But, yeah, they embrace the history of the AFL for sure around these parts. And, you know, it really would be something for the Chiefs to finally make it back because they've been a good franchise. I mean, you know, it was a really dark time in the mid-'70s to mid-'80s where they just weren't very good at all. But, you know, ever since Marty Schottenheimer came to Kansas City in 1989, they haven't gone very long with being bad. You know, they had some low times, obviously. If you get the number one pick in 2013 draft, that means you were bad the year before. but they still made the playoffs in 2006 and 2010, and 2000. It went from in 2003. Like every 3 years they made it. They kind of kept you going. Get a little carrot out here, and Andy Reid has really changed it. He's brought a lot more solid footing to the franchise, the same kind of solid footing they had when Marty Schottenheimer was in Kansas City for as long as he was. And he couldn't quite get through. Marty made one title game. It was on the road in Buffalo. They didn't win it. Had a couple of 1 seeds, had some buys, couldn't get it done. And Andy Reid, for, this is his 7th title game, right? He played 5 of them in NFC and 2 here. He's only won 1 of them. So you got to win these things. That's why at this point, it would have been a huge disaster for the Chiefs to lose at home last week. If you're a first round team, you can't lose that home game. Now it's going to be a real big disaster for the Chiefs if they lose to a 6 seed at home. And I know the Titans are hot. The Titans beat the Chiefs this year, and the Titans kind of have owned Andy Reid. He's only won 1 game against them. But if you get these opportunities, everyone thinks, they'll just be here all the time because Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback. It doesn't always work like that. Aaron Rodgers has been outstanding. He hasn't been playing in the title game every year. You got to have a lot of things break your way.
You really do, and the old trite cliche, but it is true. It's the reason why it's a cliche. Winning is very, very hard. I don't think appreciated enough. Maybe why we need to give more tribute and more acclaim to what Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, what they were able to do. But that's over. It opened up these playoffs. It's frankly made it a lot more fun for Kansas City. The near miss last year. Long time since Hank Stram and the matriculating the ball. Boy, that will be the drinking word Super Bowl week, maybe around the country.
Yeah, when they say matriculate. If the Chiefs are there,
when a guy changed the definition of a word, it has nothing to do with advancing anything. It means to enroll.
Yeah. And listen, the Hank was amazing. And he's passed since then, but we used to always have him on the Super Bowl week.
Yeah.
He was an interesting guy, and he's revered here in town. But we went through this a few years ago when the Royals got good and finally went back to the World Series for the first time in 30-plus years. That seemed like a long time from 1985 to 2014 and 15. 1969 to the now is crazy how long it's been. And if you go to the Super Bowl, a whole new group of heroes comes around, and that's when they start passing gold jackets around to guys on the team and all that, because you got to kind of solidify. You got to win one of these things to do that. And the Chiefs look like they're poised to be good for a while. I mean, you have a young quarterback. That's what it's all about.
Oh yeah.
But as I said, there's no guarantee. Dan Marino just made 1, right?
That's it.
Aaron Rodgers has been to 1. So you just don't get to go to all of them. It's an amazing. It's the first time in 17 years someone not named Manning, Roethlisberger, or Brady is going to the Super Bowl, besides the 1 year Joe Flacco did it in the AFC. That's pretty cool.
How did they get down 24-0, and how did they come back 51-7?
Well, they got down 24-0, and they won't admit this, but I think a little bit has to be, hey, they just watched the Ravens lose, and now they're like, all we got to do is win a game. We're going to be at home. But the Texans got them on the one play on the third one, and they went deep and confused the coverage, and Kenny Stills was wide open. After that, the Chiefs dropped a couple passes, little nerves. The blocked punt was huge, obviously, for a touchdown. And then the Chiefs muffed the punt. They got a little desperate, I think. Tyreek Hill does not return kicks all the time. They were down 14-0. They put him back there to return a kick, and he hasn't done it a lot this year. He muffed the punt. And then all of a sudden it's 21-0. That's how they did it. They didn't do a whole lot of stuff real bad. It was quick. It was real quick. But the onslaught of the 7 straight possessions with touchdowns was pretty amazing. We've seen them do that some this year, but it kind of felt to me as I was in the press box that even when the Chiefs were down 24-14, it felt to me like the Texans were toast. They didn't quite take advantage of it, and they didn't do what they needed to do, and all the momentum swung the other way. Next thing you know, the Chiefs were winning within one quarter. Pretty amazing. Their offense is incredible. They've got some of the fastest players in the league, a lot of them on their team. Patrick Mahomes is gifted because he sees things other people don't see. And, you'll recall the game in Tennessee when the Chiefs moved the ball all over the place. They couldn't score touchdowns. They had some problems in the red zone. They didn't have any red zone problems against the Texans. Had a couple of plays break down, but they found a way to score touchdowns. You score touchdowns, that's how you win this thing. When you kick field goals in the playoffs, that's a chance to give the other team an opportunity to go get it. And the Chiefs just kind of they kept their cool, straightened a few things out, and then they just poured it on, and it turned into a party. The game was over basically halfway through the third quarter because you just didn't feel Texans were going to answer it. You kind of felt that way in Tennessee earlier in the year, but the big fumble return by the Titans kind of turned that game around, and there's a whole lot of fight in these Tennessee Titans, and that the Chiefs understand that at this point. They won't be resting on anything.
Todd, last year statistically a lot better year and more decorated year, MVP for Patrick Mahomes. What was the difference between last year in Patrick Mahomes and 2019 with Patrick Mahomes?
Well, I think he's learning a little bit. You know, he took a lot of weird chances last year, and a lot of them came through. I mean, I think there's a stat called interceptable passes, you know, balls that could have been caught.
Of course
he
there
was
is.
near the top of the league with that.
Yeah.
There's a stat for everything, right? And he got away with a few last year, okay? And so he ended up with 50 touchdowns, and they did all that. This year he missed a couple of games, obviously, when his kneecap was dislocated. But I think he learned that you don't have to take all those crazy chances. Case in point, this last week, a couple of times he just tucked it and ran out of bounds. Didn't try to sling it into the end zone. He's learned that stuff, and I think part of it is he knows the defense is a little bit better than it was last year, and you don't feel like you have to score 50 to win. Now, they got 50 last week, but they didn't need 50. They would have been fine in the 30s. And if they hadn't made the mistakes in the first quarter, they'd have been fine other than that. So I think he's growing as a quarterback. We've watched a lot of Patrick Mahomes around these parts. He was in the Big 12 for 3 years with Texas Tech. He used to take some crazy chances, and then, you know, I think he's learned as he's come around. He learned for an entire year getting to sit and just watch Alex Smith play quarterback. That was invaluable. You know, not every quarterback who gets drafted in the first round gets that chance to watch. Yeah, just great. And Alex Smith was wonderful with him. And Patrick still talks about how nice Alex was to him. He taught him how to be a pro and taught him how to do all these things. And that helps because you watch all these guys now who get to go out and play early. They all want to do it. But, man, I think they can really get behind and they lose their confidence. And Patrick has had nothing but confidence the entire time. And he's just gotten smarter as he's come around. Everything was so easy last year. A little more difficulty this year because they had some injuries, as I mentioned, and he was actually hurt. He's just gotten smarter and brighter with the ball. He doesn't take chances, and his legs are back. The game against the Titans earlier this year was his first game back after having that dislocated knee. He never scrambled or anything. He moved in the pocket. He never tried to run that game. He's feeling his legs now. He's feeling much better. That off week helped him a great deal. And, you know, I think he's healthy right now, and his mind is right, and he's really got it going. You know, it seems like a coronation type thing with him. He won the MVP last year, finally make a Super Bowl this year, but you can't count anything before it's done.
If the Chiefs win on Sunday, the potential for Super Bowl 54 matchups, well, it could go back to Super Bowl I, that day at the L.A. Coliseum between Lynn Dawson and Bart Starr, and the Packers got it that day 35-10, or it could be the battle for Joe Montana's soul. It could be 49ers. Sure. It could be 49ers and Chiefs. And Joe Montana, as you said earlier, he did lead the Chiefs to an AFC Championship game. Do the fans do they mind? Does it matter? Any preference, or is that more of a next week topic?
Well, all the fan stuff has been for about ever since the playoffs came out, and especially after Tennessee won last week. It's been a revenge tour type thing. They had lost to the Texans at home, and the Chiefs beat the Texans. And then they lost to Tennessee, the last team to beat them, on the road, and they got a chance to beat them this week at home. They lost to the Packers this year and in Super Bowl I. So a lot of Chiefs fans are like, that's the perfect way to wrap this whole thing up. Avenge every loss and avenge Super Bowl I. And honestly, you know, the Packers have a pretty glossy record. And I don't think they're going to win out in San Francisco because Frisco really beat them pretty badly earlier this year. But the Chiefs nearly beat the Packers with Matt Moore playing quarterback. So that's a matchup that favors the Chiefs a little bit more. I'm a little scared of the Niners defense against anybody. That's the kind of defense that can do some damage. But I think a lot of fans would like that symmetry of Super Bowl I, that this Super Bowl finally getting back, and they would all love to have beaten all the three of the teams that beat them in the regular season.
You mentioned Hank Stram and what a colorful character he was, and even after his coaching career ended after the Chiefs and after the Saints, he became, you know, a fixture on Monday Night Football on the radio package with Jack Buck. And I remember a lot of Monday nights when it was bedtime for me and couldn't watch Howard Cosell and the Monday Night Football crew. It was get in bed and turn on Jack Buck and Hank Stram. And I mean this lovingly. to the dearly departed Hank Stram. He almost did the impossible. He was one of the few people that almost looked pretty good with a toupee on.
It wasn't great, though.
No,
he could kind of pull it off.
It would move around at times.
The older he got, the worse it looked. You know what I mean? Because it stayed the same color.
Yeah, Archie and Cooper Manning can regale you with great Hank Stram stories when he was the head coach of the Saints. On Monday night this year, all season long, with it being the 100th year of the NFL and the 50th year of Monday Night Football, in our 5:30 segment on Mondays, we would preview Monday Night Football, and then for the participants that night, we would have our Big Four. And on sometime in November, I can't remember the exact date, but the Chiefs were playing at the Chargers, so we did our Big Four. This was my Big Four, and I want you to tell me how right or how wrong I was, and I can take either side. I can take criticism. Todd, I've been in sports talk radio for 27 years. You know I can take criticism. All right, I had Derek Thomas, Lenny Dawson, Tony Gonzalez, and Willie Lanier for my Big Four Chiefs.
It's hard to argue with that. Willie Lanier is a great man. He was just in town this last week, and a lot of these alumni are back. One of the first true middle linebackers, amazing Pro Football Hall of Famer. Made them all. And Tony Gonzalez, great numbers. I'm not a huge fan of Tony Gonzalez. I don't think he treated the media very well. That's just me. That's petty.
Understand.
That's just me. Derek Thomas, life cut short for sure. I think he's definitely would be in there, and he's very revered around here, no doubt about it. And did you say Lynn Dawson was your other?
I did.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only guy with the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I don't have any problem with any of those. Now, it can all change. People start winning Super Bowls, and that's when you start creeping in, and all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback,
Or Travis Kelce.
There's no one on Travis Kelce's outstanding. He really helped take that game over the other day. There's still some of these great old Chiefs that you'll recall from back in the day. Bobby Bell is still here in Kansas City. Looks like he could play today. Incredible athlete.
Somebody that big that could run like that, Todd, that wasn't real. That was
crazy.
Unreal.
And Jan Stenerud, one of the few kickers in the Hall of Fame, still lives here in Kansas City. So, and he kicked for the Packers later in his life too. So he's got that Chiefs Packers, both of them in there. But I wouldn't argue with any of your four. I wouldn't do it.
That day, if we could have expanded to 5, and I think I even said that, I'm pretty sure I did, Drew. I said if I could expand mine to 5, I think I would have old number 3, Jan Stenerud, on it.
Yeah, he kicked amazingly, and it's funny because the numbers now are ridiculous. He would be a horrible kicker now, percentage-wise, but he would kick it a lot better. We've had him on before, and he'd say, yeah, there was no practice. He said, because Lenny was their holder. You couldn't even practice field goals. Back then, it wasn't like their punter was their holder. You didn't have a center who only did that. There wasn't as specialized. Now you go to practice, all these guys do is kick balls all day long because they got snaps, they got holds, they got all that stuff. Jan said they barely got to kick during the week. You just didn't even get to practice. So they went out there, and the fields they played on were awful. So he's an amazing guy, and he's a wonderful athlete too. He was a skier, when he was younger. He's a nice guy, but one of the greats for sure. But these legacies get written when you get big trophies, and it's time for Kansas City to get some more legacies written.
About a minute left. How much play has the baseball scandal in Kansas City gotten this week?
Not too much, man. It's just Chiefs. Yeah, it's all football right now. Whenever this season ends, whether it's Sunday night or in a couple of weeks after that, we'll probably talk about it more. We've got new ownership here with the Royals and a new manager. I'm sure it'll be a huge topic of conversation down in spring training when we get there in Arizona. But this is certainly something to watch. Houston had a bad week, huh? They lost a 24-point lead. They got a bunch of taint all over their World Series, and they fired everybody. It was rough Monday and Tuesday in Houston, for sure.
I think if they prove wired for sound, and with a lot of pictures going around today about Altuve, you could see the commissioner of baseball strip them of that title.
No, that would be amazing if they did that. I mean, that would be unprecedented for sure. But it's an ugly deal. That's no doubt about it. I thought it was weird when I was watching that game. I remember when he hit that home run. I said, why did he cover up his shirt?
Yeah.
Like he didn't want anyone to touch it, But
that's why.
Maybe we know why now. I don't know.
He was wired for sound. Todd Lebo, it has been great to visit with you. Best of luck to Kansas City. If you advance to Super Bowl 54, you'll be hearing from us, and hope you could carve some time out for us, and we enjoyed visiting today. Enjoy Sunday afternoon. Thank you so much.
All right, call anytime.
You got it. Todd Lebo with WHB in Kansas City, 610 in Kansas City, and really appreciate him, and that is fun in Kansas City. He talked about that long drought for the Royals from that World Series win over the Cardinals in '85 to back-to-back appearances. They lost in 2014, but then won it in 2015. But it's a football town first, and they're right on the verge.
It truly is. And, that 14 year, we were talking about it earlier with Buck Showalter's name being thrown out.
That's the year you thought
I thought that was going to be the year that I finally was going to break the 31-year streak at the time, now up to 37 years, going into year 37. I feel so sorry for you.
It's been 9 since
for all you Cardinals fans. I feel so bad. It's been 9 years since 11, and 7 years since you've been in one.
Yeah, since
I feel so bad.
Sox.
My 37 doesn't even look like anything to that.
It's the Cardinals. Drew.
You're right.
Yeah.
Different standards.
No,
I guess.
I know what you mean. And the Royals, they got it accomplished. Right there in the stadiums are right by each other. The original architectural plan for what is now Kauffman Stadium, the baseball park in Arrowhead, was going to have retractable roof that would slide over both.
Yeah, I've heard that, but I just don't see how it would work.
It was like on rails.
It doesn't seem like it would look good to me.
That might be why they pulled the plug.
It probably is. They drew up the lines and it sounded good, and then they drew up the plans and it's like, that doesn't look very good to the eye.
I'm for the Titans Sunday, but again, I don't mind any combination here. I think the symmetry in this 100th year of having Super Bowl 54 be the first Super Bowl, Packers and Chiefs, would be fun, but Frisco's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, I really do not care which way it ends up. It's just going to be a great game in the Super Bowl like it is every year, so I really don't care. But I think the Chiefs and Green Bay is probably, if odds-on favorite, best matchup and most likely matchup. I think Green Bay's going to get San Francisco this week.
One, but the 49ers, that gold-plated history of theirs and a new quarterback to write it, mostly written by Joe Montana and Steve Young, and now Jimmy Garoppolo. Look, if you're getting ready to head out for an early dinner or you want to pick up something to take it home and watch the Tiger game, I got a great idea for you. Head by Jason's Deli. Any of these locations on Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, or Olive Branch and Cordova. It's more than just the great lunch place. Go by there right now. Tiger game will be on in all the locations, but you can get something to go if you want to have your own game watching party tonight, or just pick up something for your family. All the different salads, the meats, the cheese, the breads, the spreads, all at Jason's Deli. And when I say the salads, the chicken club salad, the nutty mixed up salad, the big chef salad, the Mesa chicken salad, the chicken Caesar salad, and I just love the taco salad. And all the soups on a cold winter night would be just terrific for you at any of these locations: Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch and Cordova. And at Jason's Deli, it's always about choice, regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals. If you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selection, you will be delighted at any of these Jason Deli locations. Plenty of organic food to choose from, and the great salad bar. Over 30 items on the salad bar. And at the locations, wrap it all up with the free ice cream. Catering anytime, anywhere. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com. We come back. We visit with Blake Lovell on college basketball from Clutch Points app, Blue Ribbon Magazine, and Marching to Madness podcast. Blake Lovell joins us next. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats and Drew Barrett on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
The Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant,
the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
Is imitation the sincerest form of flattery? Not. When it comes to your car audio. Stereo One is the leader in car audio, remote start, security, and more for the past 30 years. Stereo One is proud to announce the grand opening of their new location, 1983 Covington Pike, across from the Honda dealership. To celebrate their new location, Stereo One has marked down their entire inventory. Remote start systems at $129 with free installation. Subwoofer base packages start at just $199. Window tint starting at $129. The entire inventory of radios and touchscreens with features like Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, and backup cameras are marked to go. Check out Stereo One before you buy online. Their knowledge, friendly sales staff, and pro installation team will take care of you. Visit the Stereo One new location today, 1983 Covington Pike, across from Honda, or visit their mega store at Mendenhall and Winchester. Make sure you go to the originators and not the imitators. Stereo One is still the one for your auto accessories.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between, in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Make your day smoking with the Big Green Egg. You can smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ceramic never rusts, and the easy, accurate temperature control gives you the greatest range of any grill. Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg. Available at these nearby locations: Hamilton Fireplace Shop, 4462 Summer Avenue; Germantown Hardware Company, 2083 South Germantown Road; Garden Spas and Pool, 9393 Poplar Avenue; and East Memphis Ace Hardware, 5143 Quince Road.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Here once again
are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Blake Lovell to talk college basketball, and what a fun, crazy year it is in college basketball with all the upsets. We'll see if that holds come tournament time or if it codifies to the Blue Bloods and the more traditional names being in the Final Four. But I don't think it is extreme to think that this could be the year of a fairly anonymous all 4 teams in the Final Four. I'd be fine with it, however it falls. I don't care how it falls. I'm going to be interested in it. But I tell you who does care: the networks. Because historically, when we've had that unfamiliar name, George Mason, the ratings aren't very good for it. We love those teams on Thursday and Friday. And the networks love them on Thursday. You know, there's a difference between winning a 2:30 game on Thursday and making a national splash, like a few years ago when the 16 beat the 1. But as they get down to the Elite 8 and the Final Four, they want those name brand teams in there for the channel checkers and the people that have some identity with those teams. But it plays out on the court. It does not matter.
It doesn't matter. But personally, I like the stories, especially if the Tigers aren't there. I like the George Washingtons. I like the Butlers. I like the VCUs, Wichita States of the world. I like the team out of nowhere. That Florida team, Florida Gulf Coast. I love that story. Yes.
I like that story. Way back, I mean, literally 41 years ago, the 79 Final Four had Penn in it from the Ivy League. Now, they got blasted on Saturday. and I think they were still playing a consolation game on Monday night. But I enjoyed that. That Final Four, mostly remembered by Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Of course, that's what it would. But however it falls out, I enjoy it. And I know who else is enjoying it. It's our guest, Blake Lovell. And, Blake, these upsets, just hurry up and get here, March Madness. We're kind of having Thursday and Friday of March Madness every night.
Yeah, we are, and it's been crazy, that's for sure. I mean, we've talked about it since the season started. It's pretty incredible how we've seen, everything play out. And I mean, I think as you guys have talked about, there's kind of two sides of it. Yes, there's not a truly great team in that, we're not seeing a Duke or North Carolina or Kentucky at the top just as an invincible type of team. They're still there, minus North Carolina, but they're not invincible. And I think it's something where some people tune in to watch those teams get beat. Other people tune in for the unpredictable results, and I think you're getting a little bit of both this year.
Yeah, we just were talking about the NFL playoffs this weekend, and it really felt like the playoffs burst wide open when New England got knocked out of it. Come NCAA tournament time, when the predictable names, Kentucky, Kansas, Duke, those names, when they get knocked out, then that opens it up for other teams, and I don't mind it. Gonzaga, they have kind of earned not blue blood status, by no means, but the job that Mark Few has now done over this long march of history. Don Munson first did it, and then Mark Few took over. He brought a team here in 2001, first time I was ever around Mark Few. He has stayed there, could have about named any job, particularly on the West Coast, maybe even other places around college basketball. I just don't think they're that good. That league does nothing for me. They're a 20-point favorite tonight over a 3-loss team.
Yeah, no, it's something where I think no matter what their record is at this point, year in, year out, and I'll tell you, kind of, interviewing some of those coaches on our podcast over the years, and the league's gotten better, but it's still not a league where, we're going to go in night in, night out and say, well, this is the year where they're truly, going to be tested to the point to where they may lose 3 or 4 conference games, something like that. We're still not there yet with that league. Even, teams like Pacific. I mean, look at what Damon Stoudemire's done there. He's doing a good job, but they're not yet, up to that BYU St. Mary's year in and year out being that type of program. They could get there. We'll see. And, same thing with Santa Clara. Santa Clara's had a good year, but we're going to have this conversation with Gonzaga every year until it gets to that point to where we can safely say year in and year out that it's not Gonzaga, St. Mary's, BYU, and everyone else. If there are some other teams that can kind of join that group and you don't have a year where, let's say St. Mary's and BYU kind of drop off. I mean, St. Mary's is 2-2 in conference play so far. It's going to be interesting because, we can't really ever tell, I guess, until we get to the tournament what kind of matchups Gonzaga get.
And fair or unfair for Gonzaga, the conversation that we're having now, that we've had repeatedly through the years, will remain until they win it all.
Yep, for sure. And that's what we said. I think that's why everybody was, certainly not the teams they beat, but everybody was excited to see them get there a couple years ago. It was a situation where it's like, okay, well, they're there now. I think some of these questions can certainly stop being asked about whether, yes, they're good year in, year out. Yes, they can win 30 games, but are they ever going to get to a point where they can reach the Final Four consistently? Well, they got there once, and now it's a matter of, okay, can they string this together to where they're able to do this, every other year? Because I just, again, as we say, it's just so hard, no matter who you are anymore, to get there year in and year out. It's just a landscape change. I think once the one and done rules go, I honestly think it's only going to change it even more to where it's going to be even more unpredictable in terms of how, this Final Four routes out. Who are the teams in the Sweet 16? Because, the talent gap is closing, and we're seeing some of these teams be able to close that and kind of, get an upper hand on some of these teams we've been talking about for years.
One of the quiet wins of last night is kind of the quiet, steady style he's had for a long time at FSU, and I'm talking about Leonard Hamilton. They win last night, 54-50. He can win a lot of different ways. He had to win kind of an ugly defensive, low to the ground game last night. He can kind of win running the wishbone and running 5 wideouts, to mix metaphors, and I love him. I think if he got to a Final Four, it would finally be that final seal of approval recognition for a great basketball lifer and for FSU, one of the ultimate football schools, but always pretty good in basketball, and they haven't been to a Final Four since Dave Cowens a long, long time ago. I would love it to see a team like that in it.
Oh, I would too. I mean, Leonard Hamilton, which we joke about all the time, talking to the colleagues and such. I mean, he's 71 going on 50. I mean, this guy is just, he hasn't aged a bit, and he's still got that same mentality, that same type of energy that he always had. And it works. Like, it's just his formula, as we say. I mean, he's just found teams over the years where early in the season, he knows what kind of team he has, and no matter what team it is, they're going to play defense. And that's what's going to make it hard on every single year, is that this is a team that is going to play defense more often than not. They're going to play it well enough to where even if they struggle at nights on offense, they're going to have a chance to win. And yeah, I mean, this is certainly a year where if we look at a team like that, and look around at some of these other teams that are probably considered, surprise type of teams, that you feel like are really, as programs, starting to ascend up that ladder. I mean, you can throw Dayton in there. Certainly a program that looks right now to be, the makeup of a potential Final Four type team for sure. Look at what Scott Drew's done at Baylor. Like, all these teams who played in these leagues with Kansas, North Carolina, Duke, all that, but, it seems like Florida State, Baylor, and all of these others, West Virginia, although they've had more success, in terms of what Bob Huggins has been able to do there, it's just a matter of, okay, I mean, are we going to start to see these types of teams every single year be there, have a chance to compete for a Final Four or a national championship? And that's what's going to be interesting to watch here, I think, over the next several years.
Bob Huggins having a good year with West Virginia. His old school, Cincinnati, in town tonight. Dave is absent because of that. He's at the arena getting ready to call the game. It tips in about 20 minutes. A first-year coach for Cincinnati against a second-year coach in Penny Hardaway. Both teams sorting some things out in still this early phase of conference play.
Yep, that's the case. And I think still, and you said it, I think that's something that people have to remember is it's still early in conference play. So, I mean, we're really, at the halfway mark of the season. It feels like, I think, sometimes once you get into conference play, everything should just be set and teams should be, perfect as they can be. Well, they still pretty much got another half a season to go in a lot of cases. And so there are still things that you have to get worked out. And certainly we've seen that with Memphis, during that two-game stretch against Georgia and Wichita State. But, to go on the road in any situation now, I think even more so now when we talk about this unpredictability, going on the road and winning, it doesn't matter who you play. Like, it's something where you're going to have to give yourself a pat on the back at least for a couple minutes if you're able to go on the road and win. And they did that at South Florida. So now to be able to come back home, we've talked about Cincinnati. John Brandon, someone I know for Cincinnati fans who are so used to having Mick Cronin there, and you could just pretty much walk into every season and feel like they were going to have a chance to win, 28-plus games without even blinking an eye. To cap some of the struggles they've had thus far, they're probably frustrated. But again, this is not something where he's going to be judged on one season. We knew they were going to play a little bit differently. We knew that there are things that he's going to have to figure out on this roster moving forward. But for now, it's a team that certainly has some weaknesses you can exploit. They don't really take care of the ball break. They're not a great shooting team. They're not where that he's going to want them to be on offense just yet, and that could be something where you go on the road and play a team like Memphis. I think certainly the Tigers have to feel pretty good about that matchup.
Blake, another group of Tigers, college football national champions. Do you think they know it on campus at LSU that they're 4-0 in SEC play?
Probably not. Yeah, I think that's the thing where, it's certainly, I think it's an interesting spot for LSU athletics because, you look at what they've done in football, winning the national championship. But, I mean, as we say, we all kind of remember the stuff that went on off the court last year and all sort of the things that they had to face throughout the season and into the postseason. But this is still the team, that was the regular season champions in the SEC last year, and here we are, 4 games in, and they're the only undefeated team left in the league. And so it's interesting because I thought this team, I was probably higher on LSU than most people were. I can't say that I think that they're still going to win the league, but I do think offensively they've just been really good, and you kind of always sense that they were going to be really good, even with losing Tremont Waters. But they don't have the same size they had last year, but they're rebounding it better. I mean, look at what they did against a team like Arkansas. I know Arkansas is smaller, but I still think this LSU team is second weekend type team. I mean, they have the talent, they have the athleticism, they have the playmakers, and so it's going to be interesting because they've won 5 in a row now, and they're at Ole Miss, of course, on Saturday. From there, they've got a pretty tough stretch with Florida, Texas, and Alabama. I'm curious to see where this team's at the start.
Blake, speaking of tough stretches, Kentucky with the heartbreaker last night at the horn off the glass three-pointer after they got it knotted at 78. They go on the road Saturday to Bud Walton Arena, and it will be like the good old days. It'll be like 94, 95, 96 at Bud Walton Arena. Impossible hotel rooms in Fayetteville. And, of course, with that, the 2-night minimum.
Yeah, no, it's going to be something. Like this is kind of what and this is not to take away, like we said, from any of sort of the matchups in recent years, but I mean, it does. It feels like this Arkansas team, it just got sort of that it factor right now, and I said it too. That when they got at Ole Miss, I know Ole Miss has struggled a bit, but
down
still,
11,
to
they
go on
came back.
Yeah, exactly. To rally the way they did in that game, I think that told me a lot about Arkansas because that was the game. After losing the way they did to LSU, they could have easily lost that game to Ole Miss, and we've seen teams before. That's what sort of starts the spiral. But yet, for them to get that win, come back, beat Vandy pretty handily, and now, like we said, they're playing a Kentucky team that certainly is going to have to come out with something to prove because they just had no business losing that game to South Carolina. They did not play well at all, and I think it's one where if Arkansas wins this game, their schedule, I tell you look up and down Arkansas' schedule, I know they've got some tough matchups. They still got to go to Florida. They still got to go to Alabama. But otherwise, they get Auburn at home. They get some of these other teams at home. They get LSU at home again. I think their schedule sets up really nicely to where if they beat Kentucky, Arkansas has to be, I think, in that conversation to win the SEC. And again, I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because it's only 5 games in, but again, with the schedule, the way it plays out, I wouldn't be surprised if Arkansas is right there in the mix, maybe going into that final couple weeks.
And Eric Musselman, primarily he's the beneficiary of this good team with only 2 losses and doing it in the first year, but he's also the beneficiary of this. The Razorback fans are so hungry with the football woes. I've got Razorback friends of mine said they're going this weekend and getting a lot of frustration out just to go cheer, call the Hogs, and put the gear on and be proud again.
Yeah, no, and that's where they want it to be. And I've told you this many times throughout the season, and even before the season started. That was a team that I got a lot of questions about was Arkansas. And I would be the first to tell you, I was someone who said, I have no idea what we're going to get from Arkansas this season. Like everybody's, there's some people around saying, well, I knew Arkansas would be this good. I didn't. I did not think they would be at this spot. They just had no idea. And, we didn't know how quickly he was going to be able to sort of put everything together. But what he's done has just been pretty special. And, he's reinvigorated that fan base. The way they play defense, Kentucky's struggling on offense. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they come out and sort of make a statement in this game and beat the Wildcats.
Blake, we've enjoyed visiting with you today. We'll do it again next week. Quite literally, we are marching to madness. Thank you for your time today.
Sounds great. Thanks, Brent.
You got it. Blake Lovell talking college basketball with us every week. When we come back, we wrap it up with Taco Bell Crunch Time. That's next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats and Drew Baird on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find Real Sports Talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
When the air is chilly and the days are gray, there's only one place in downtown Memphis that promises all the warmth and comfort you're craving. Third and Court, Memphis' perfect old-style diner with a modern flair. Nothing will warm your insides like the hearty fare at Third and Court. From the meatloaf on Mondays to the fried catfish on Fridays, every meal at Third and Court chases away the winter chill and replaces it with the warm memories of classic diner dining. All that great food and a full bar. Third and Court is the toasty comfort you're dreaming of right now.
And the coach calls timeout.
Wait a minute, you can't call timeout when you have leaks and Mother Nature is roaring through your home.
A technical foul from outer space may be in order.
Don't know about that, but we can measure your roof from outer space at BrianElderRoofing.com.
So if you need repairs or wondering if you think you may have a claim,
call me before you call your insurance company. And we've got 0% interest for 60 months with approved credit. We won't try to sell you a new roof if all you need is a repair.
My friend Chris Price, a longtime donor of the U of M. Call him, 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
God bless America, Penny and Mike, and go Tigers.
And now back to the game.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkhammer for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. Thinking about buying a new or used car or truck? Remember, the selection's better and the savings are bigger at Sunrise. Over 600 new cars and trucks to choose from. Factory savings up to $13,000 and interest rates low as 0%. Immediate financing with next to nothing down and a $6 million used car inventory. Specializing in cars and trucks under $10,000 and monthly payments under $200. Bad credit? It's okay. At Sunrise, we've got a financing plan for everybody. SunriseMemphis.com. We're saving you money. It's just a way of doing business. Covington, Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville. We make it fun to buy a car again.
If it's time for a new gun, rifle, or silencer, Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville on Highway 72 is the best place to go. I promise they have the newest, most exciting selection of guns and silencers you could ever want. I don't care if you shoot for fun, hunt, or just need a gun for personal protection, Tactical Guns and Gear has the best selection of firearms around. The only one-stop silencer shop in Tennessee. In less than 10 minutes, they do all the paperwork. Take your photo, originate gun trust, take your prints electronically, and the best part, you never have to scan them again. Yes, silencers are legal. No special licensing, just a simple background check. Silencers don't make your firearms silent. They simply reduce noise for more enjoyable shooting, help protect against hearing loss, reduce recoil. It makes you more accurate. Best silencer place in the entire state of Tennessee, right here in Collierville. For all things guns and gear, ask for Jake or Jim at Tactical Guns and Gear on Highway 72 and tell them Eli says hi. Online at tacticalgunsandgear.com.
Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Boop, boop, boop. That's what you're getting.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Learned today another upset-filled night last night in college basketball. Don't be shocked if it's another one out there tonight. We don't want one downtown at FedEx Forum. That's the norm this year. Gonzaga should stay number one because of that slaw conference mostly. I'll defend Mark Few and what he's built, but that league is bad.
It is pretty bad. I learned today that Mike McCarthy does not have plans to really change anything in Dallas. Says he'll allow Kellen Moore to stay as the play caller on the offensive side. McCarthy also says
everything hunky-dory in Dallas?
Apparently, he also says he plans to keep the offensive terminology the same, saying he'll learn the team's language, not the other way around, which is kind of weird.
What'd they fire the coach for?
Exactly. If everything's just going to stay the same.
Everything all good? Good to go? All those playoff runs?
Apparently.
Did I miss something?
I guess I did too. Because if it's all working, I don't know why Jason Garrett still doesn't have a job.
More than 3 Lombardi trophies in the lobby out at the Star?
Oh, 6 at least, right?
Well, Jerry Jones just counts the ones he won.
Oh, that's true.
He just counts his. What is it you could have done without today?
I could have done without the whole Twitter drama / mystery surrounding the tweets from the supposed niece of Carlos Beltran. According to ESPN baseball reporter Marley Rivera, the Beltran family told her that this individual who claims to be their niece is not related to the family in any way. This person may or may not have additional information about the Houston Astros sign-stealing scandal, but they are in no way related to the Beltran's family. The account of the fake niece, _blessed1
somehow
has already been deleted, so we may never know who it actually is.
Somehow Manti Te'o ends up in this story.
Oh, it's his girlfriend. It's got to be.
It was way too many may or may nots in all that story there.
It was.
Because you know the other half of maybe, don't you? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
I could have done without his free throw stroke is something you just don't even want to watch. Avert your eyes when Arkansas's Jimmy Witt is on the line, but he's having a big year for the Razorbacks. Remember, he began his career at Arkansas, then transferred to SMU. He was here last year with the Ponies at the AAC championship or AAC conference tournament game, then transferred back to Arkansas. He had 30 last night in the win over Vanderbilt, but on the line, don't watch it. That is the ugliest free throw stroke you ever see. The announcer last night, and I think it was our buddy Mark Wise, he said it was the Jim Furyk swing in golf of free throw strokes. Keeping a close eye tonight on, I know you're headed to FedEx Forum. Going to watch Tigers?
Yep, going to head to FedEx Forum. Also going to keep a close eye on the Ducks in Smashville to take on my Preds.
Are you really?
Of course I am. It's all about the hockey.
Tigers and Bearcats downtown tonight. Old rivalry renewed, 80th time to play. Both in need of a win. Cincinnati with their first-year coach and the Tigers with Coach Penny Hardaway in his second year. Tigers are only a 4-point favorite. Number one Gonzaga late at Santa Clara. Big favorites over Santa Clara. Oregon, remember them? Dana Altman, 14-3 on the year. They're on the road, ranked 8th at Washington State tonight. In the NBA, a good one in the East between the Celtics and Milwaukee, and Orlando going for the Staples Center back-to-back. Last night they got the Lakers. They get to go out there and try to do it again and back it up tonight against the Clippers. Dave will be back with us tomorrow. For Dave, for Drew, I'm Brett. We look forward to you being back with us tomorrow afternoon at the same time, and thank you for your time today. Good night, everyone.
On May 25, 2012, WIVG was granted a license by the Federal Communications Commission to serve the public interest as a public trustee until June 1, 2020. Our license will expire on June 1, 2020. We must file an application for renewal with the FCC on or before June 1, 2020. When filed, a copy of this application will be available for public inspection at www.fcc.gov. It contains information concerning the station's performance during the last